Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Dyer's Place 30th-ennial extravaganza. And that's because it's episode 30, so I want to do something like that. It's kind of Homestar Runner. Right, Mike?
Yeah. I wish I could remember what tune or mail that was from, though.
Teen
It's
Girl
all
Squad.
Oh, yes. Right. The tenth one with the hot glee one.
Yeah. So, as you can tell, Mike is here with me. And
Hi
we
there.
also have Snarb.
Hello.
Yep.
Yo.
So, I suppose you're wondering what's on the agenda for tonight. Honestly, whatever the hell we want to talk about.
Yeah, we couldn't really think of specific theme for having gotten this far, so we decided to do the opposite and basically have no theme, which I hope will generate something good because I'm honestly really shitty with improv. But we'll see where this experiment goes, I suppose.
Yes, I guess we shall. But I decided I wanted to bring back the neon on the background, so you got
Yeah, I noticed.
Simon, Bill, and Ryu again.
Yep.
You know, we haven't had that background in some time, so
That's a good point. You should like commission some actual sign maker and hang that in front of your house or something.
that'd be interesting. And, well, as long as we're talking about the background and it doesn't appear anybody's here yet, at least no one's in the chat, as far as I can tell, why don't we just talk about our avatars? Snarb, you're going first because that thing's weird.
Yes, that is one of the playable combatants from the game Xenophage Alien Bloodsport, the best fighting game for MS-DOS, according to me anyway. That character's name is Spike. It's like some kind of weird centaur, like its legs and arms are like just they ended spikes, and then its head is like basically almost like a pair of sock puppet looking hands that can shoot venom or drain blood. It's probably one of the most fun characters in the game to play, and it's the only one with a proper command grab. It's not quite a suplex, but the character does lift you up and then slam you into the ground, so it's pretty good stuff.
I'm going to take your word for that because I have never played that game or even really heard of it until I met you.
Now, Starb, I assume you have played One Must Fall 2097, yes?
Oh, of course. Like me saying it's one of the best DOS fighting games is a bit of kayfabe. I know it's not perfect. I just like that it's weird. There aren't enough fighting games with a really weird, bizarre cast, and that entire cast outside of the really ugly-looking human characters is just a bunch of weirdos. Like, I can't think of any game that approaches it. Maybe Mortal Kombat or Guilty Gear, but even then.
Well,
hey, Mo.
It's definitely not Street
Mo.
Fighter, especially not Street Fighter 6, which has a real dearth of freaks right now. I really hope it gets more, like, next year.
Are you guys overlooking the games with all the freaks in them, like Fighting Masters and Tongue of the Fat Man?
Actually, good point. Fighting Masters is another favorite fighter of mine, also because it's full of weirdos, like a breakdancing robot and a giant lobster.
We got
Hey,
more.
Scroll Boss. I mean, Prime.
Hey, Brian.
I like the guy who looks like a waddling pharaoh head or whatever, like the rock guy.
Gold Rock, I believe.
That's him. And hey there, Mo and Prime. Sorry, I'm caught up in my own thoughts right now.
Yeah, well,
About fighting games, apparently, which we do want to cover more extensively, but I guess we wouldn't be talking about these weirdo fighters as much. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. We could do a sidebar, which is basically what tonight's stream is all going to be, sidebars.
Yeah.
At random asides. I did also forget the Dark Stalker series, so I might have to commit ritual seppuku after the stream. Talk about the game. Talk about the fighter with the weirdest characters.
Yeah, it's got some weird ones.
Like that one green guy who's surprisingly attractive for a fish man.
Rikio, or I forget what it's, Albaran or something in Japan. I forget.
I think.
Albath,
You
yes.
know, how come there were so many changed names between the Japan and America for that one?
I have no clue.
That is a good question, yeah. Anyway.
Of course, that game also had Morrigan, so...
It did give us Morrigan and Felicia, and of course their if there's any Darkstalkers crossover, you're most likely to find them because Booba. Also, obligatory Morrigan using her original sprite since 1994 all the way up to like 2003 or whatever.
Still the best 1994.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Snarb, does it mean you're a wrestling fan?
No, but I'm familiar with some of the terminology, and I did used to watch. There was this video game wrestling thing that someone used to do on Twitch, and it actually got me into sort of wrestling in general because I knew the characters, right? They were all video game characters, and then they would create these stories, and one of them was Little Mac being this absolute terror to Zangief, and then Little Mac gets hit by a truck as part of a plot point. It was pretty good. I haven't watched it in a long time. I think it went for so many seasons, but I slowly understood why wrestling was so popular because it's not unlike DBZ. It's basically soap operas for men, so it works.
Yeah, no, that was fun going for a while. I distinctly remember Ganondorf was like the reigning champion for a really long time because they canonically made him really powerful, but but yeah, no, I was sad when that ended, but you know, the guy behind it just decided that he wanted just to close it at some point, and I do at least respect that instead of having it go on to be a zombie. So, but
you know, I stopped watching professional wrestling around 1988. And I never started again.
Yeah, I got into it like for like 1 or 2 years in high school. I don't know if that was a particularly great time to join around the mid-2000s. There was some good stuff going on. There was some stupid stuff, but I suppose that's business as usual for the WWE. Of course, I was too much of a cheap bastard to pay for any of the pay-per-views, which is probably where like the really good stuff is. But I do hold an inherent respect for pro wrestling because that takes a lot of athleticism and precision to do all the crazy high-flying stuff that it does on a constant basis. And of course, botches are kind of stock and trade. They can't do everything perfectly, and there's some really wicked injuries.
Hello, Sharon.
So, yeah.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey there, Sharon. What's
also,
up?
Mike, don't forget, pro wrestling also has Starman and the Amazon.
Those are my favorites. Like they're objectively the two best characters, and it doesn't even come close. Although I am kind of partial to the Giant Panther. I just like his Iron Claw move, which makes me wonder if he's a reference to the Von Erich brothers. And there's apparently a movie on that recently, and their story is really sad. But a lot of wrestling stories are, so... Anyway, we're probably never going to have a proper pro wrestling
Yeah, I
stream.
doubt that.
Unfortunately, it's something that's beyond like most of our regulars' depths. I would, if we theoretically did have one on, I would love to have Prime on, but it would practically probably be him monologuing for like at least 2 hours. So
I'd basically just be, you know, kind of just sitting back and going,
Yep.
Yep. Oh, hey, Saturday Slam Masters.
Yeah, I was going to say Slam Masters and Technos' WWF WrestleFest. That's a good game, too.
That was the arcade game, right?
Yes. That was the second. At least, they did at least, Technos did at least 2 arcade wrestling games. One was WWF Superstars, which is all right, but then the latter one, WWF WrestleFest, was even better. So
I remember seeing one of them in arcades back in the early 90s.
Oh, really now?
Mm-hmm. And it might have been the first one.
Do you remember who was in that one?
Memory's kind of fuzzy, but I think Ted DiBiase?
Yeah, then it would have been WWF Superstars. Him and Andre were actually the bosses of that one.
Yeah. Also, I do have to say this. I do remember the time when Cyndi Lauper was hanging out with the WWF wrestlers.
Yeah, they even factored into the video for Goonies Are Good Enough.
Yes, they did. And I love that. I love that video. So, anyway, Mike, how about you explain your avatar now?
My spoon is too big.
No, that's not you.
I am a banana.
That's
If any of you are familiar with animator Don Hertzfeldt, this is one of his earlier works. It was the first one that I really noticed of his, called Rejected. It's a short about a bunch of fictional commercials that get really absurd and often violent and unhinged and crazy in various ways.
You're watching the Family Learning Channel, and now angry ticks fire out of my nipples.
Yeah. If you like absurdist bullshit like I do, it is absolutely a must-watch. I need to get on more of Hertzfeldt's works in general, but I did see one of his feature-length films. I want to say Everything Will Be Okay was the one that I saw. Let me see. What was the fucking name of that? No, that's not it. Don Hertz.
While you're looking that up, supposedly Rejected was actually based on experiences he had with advertisers approaching him, asking him to do projects. And rumor has it that Kellogg's might have been one of them, because one of their advertising campaigns in the 2000s was suspiciously similar to his work, notably the Crazy Good advertising campaign. You'll notice that the figures look a lot very Hertzfeldian, for lack of a better term. But I think it's a rumor. I don't know if it was ever confirmed either way, whether that movie was in fact about him trying to work with advertisers or not.
Gotcha. And the name of the film is It's Such a Beautiful Day. It's only about an hour. It is also very representative of Hertzfeldt's offbeat humor and like eventual dramatic swings. It does definitely get sad quite a bit, but it's also Rejected and It's Such a Beautiful Day are both very much worth watching. I have yet to get on his World of Tomorrow trilogy, however, but yeah, awesome animator who also infamously directed a Simpsons intro,
Yes.
which is maybe the most poignant thing that the show put out like in the last 10-15 years or so. I shit you not.
Family,
in fact, you know what?
meet me at the breakfast cube. Or
In
the
fact,
kitchen
you know
cube.
what? Let me-
Kitchen cube.
Allow me to link to it in the chat if you haven't
Definitely
seen it
do.
yet.
It's funny because that intro he did was similar to a dream I had, where it was like the Simpsons had run to like 2100, and like at that point they were just weird flanderized, like weird flanderized versions of themselves, to the point that all they could do is grunt and make very bizarre sounds. Also, I think Lisa was dead for some reason. I think maybe someone killed her off. Someone in the writing room. It was very strange, and that seeing that, I was like, man, this is almost exactly like the weird dream I had.
I am Simpson. I am Simpson.
So yeah, that's a good idea of what Don Hertzfeldt's works are like. Really fucking crazy and out there. Kind of like touching on a similar absurdist branch that Homestar Runner does, but usually more intense than Homestar. So.
And
very violent, yes.
Let's not forget, Mike. What are you when you buy and eat Johnson & Mills kelp dip?
I am a consumer whore.
And how?
And how? Love that.
Anyway, some people might recognize my avatar if you're familiar with the web series Llamas with Hats.
I am not.
You've never seen Llamas with Hats? Seriously?
No, elucidate me.
Well, it's about these two llamas who wear hats. And there's Carl, which is the character I'm playing, and I can't think of the other one's name. But anyway, Carl is completely psychotic. Just to give you an example, the still I snagged, the short I snagged the still from is when they're escaping a sinking cruise ship, which is on fire. Turns out Carl's completely responsible for that. And the other llama just keeps going with it. Carl, that kills people. It's like, you were headbutting children off the sides of the ship. And then you started making out with the ice sculpture. Well, let's just thank God the children weren't aboard to see that. And then in the raft they're in, suddenly the other one realizes, he's like, Carl, what are we standing in? Would you believe frosty strawberry milkshakes? Carl. Some of God's tears. Carl. Boat nectar. Carl. All right. It's the lovely elderly couple from 2B. Carl. Well, they were eating all the crescent rolls. Hey, where are the other lifeboats, Carl? You're right. I didn't notice that. Carl. Well, judging by the position of the sun and Venus, I would say at the bottom of the ocean by now. I bit lots of holes in them. And Carl's atrocities just get worse as the series go on, and he totally loses it at one point. And it just, you have to watch the whole thing from beginning to end. It gets bizarre, but
I just
absolutely
posted
hilarious.
Oh, and it seems the name of the other llama is Paul.
That's right, Paul. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, when Carl finally gets to build his meat dragon. You built the meat dragon, didn't you, Carl? Oh, yeah, it is completely insane, Prime. But that's one of my favorite lines of all time is when Carl goes, boat nectar.
That reminds me of an infamous bit from King's Quest V. Snarb knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Ah, yes, the murder boat.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to acknowledge Prime saying, didn't get to mention this last week, I saw Fleischer Studios' Superman in the mid-'80s and immediately had a dream about a Justice Society cartoon in that style. That's really fucking cool.
That would have been awesome if it actually existed.
The thing of it is, one of the earliest, I think like the second ever DC animated movie was like a sort of like 60s style Silver Age throwbacky film. That kind of had the Art Deco style at the time. It's been ages since I've seen him. My memory's really fuzzy, but I seem to recall some such.
I love the Fleischer Studios Superman cartoons. Those are great.
I mean, for a while, I gather like that was basically the best depiction ever of Superman outside the comics. Except maybe for, of course, Christopher Reeve, and even then, for as much as I like the first Superman film, there is the part at the end where he turns back time and ends up with Jane Seymour, and I'm just kidding.
Wrong movie.
Yep. I was surprised at how much I really ended up liking that one. That was a really fucking sad ending, though. Wow.
Also, Sharon is completely baffled about the topic for tonight.
Well, we don't really have one, so if this stream is more rambling and irreverent than usual, well, I can't really apologize for it because I actually kind of like this idea.
I apologize for nothing. Also, Prime, if you like llamas with hats, you're going to have to look up Charlie the Unicorn.
Now, that one I do remember.
I've only seen, I think, the first and maybe second one of that. That's a whole series, isn't there like 4 episodes now or something?
Longer than that, I think. But it's done by the same guys who did Llamas with Hats.
That explains a lot.
Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Yep. And yeah, so whatever stream. That's a good way of putting it. Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Mo remembers Charlie.
Yep. I would almost want to have a stream about like 2000s webtoons, the real halcyon days of that sort of very absurdist humor where Homestar and Charlie the Unicorn, Salad Fingers, and so forth came from.
I just don't care for Salad Fingers. It's weird.
Yeah, I know Carrie does, and you're just kind of F on it, but I would like that too, Mo. But outside of Homestar and some more relatively obscure and or ephemeral series, I'm not really sure how much I could say about
Strategy
it.
guide.
And
Yeah,
if,
that was a good one.
But you know,
if you decide to dig into that, a lot of them have not aged well. That's the other issue. If you decide to cover Flash
Yeah.
cartoons from the 2000s,
being the 2000s seemed to be a particularly insensitive decade in particular, and I blame South Park due in part to that. But
which is technically a 90s cartoon, ironically enough.
yeah,
that is weird.
But,
Yeah, I don't know.
consider this, Mike. Even though Betty is not a fan, or I'm not a fan of Salad Fingers, Betty is not a fan of Homestar Runner.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that I do know, and I can see how the series would be too weird for some people to get into, but at the same time, come on. Oh yeah, save it. No, the taxes. The finger thing means the taxes. I know. I just saw Simpsons out left field.
All right, Prime was talking about New Frontier up there. I've read that, and I've seen the animated adaptation. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I really did. I actually saw a large chunk of the DC animated films, like basically all of them. Then I skipped a couple. Then the last one I saw was the Flashpoint Paradox, and then I didn't see any more because apparently their quality got a lot wonkier after Dwayne McDuffie died, which really sucked. But yeah, no, there's some good stuff in there. I mean, that was the era that gave us the film Under the Red Hood, which is a good one. And we got a, take it for what you will nowadays. Frank Miller is probably not the most popular person around now, but there was a quite good 2-part adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns in the animated set.
There was also a decent adaptation of Superman Red Sun, which I have a couple issues with because I read the comic first and it was just so much better. But overall, it's not bad.
I didn't get around to viewing that one yet. We'll see if I get back to them. But my God, there's been so fucking many of these now.
Well, you know what the basic concept behind Red Sun is, right?
Yes, America's favorite son in this alternate timeline lands in Russia instead, and he doesn't really turn out evil, but communism and such, and I don't remember the really intricate details, but he instead of the S, his emblem is a hammer and sickle, which is pretty rad, if not on the nose.
Yeah, the whole thing is there was a comic series that I remember reading called Justice League of America: The Nail. And it's basically what would happen if Superman came to Earth but was not adopted by the Kents because they got a flat tire.
For want of a nail. I've heard that describing alternate outcomes influenced by just one minor thing. I forget if that was the exact origin of it, but they're literally playing off that term.
That's exactly what it was. And
okay, cool.
Red Sun is the same kind of thing, except what would happen if Superman had landed on Earth 12 hours later? He'd be on the other side of the planet.
Well, I gotta say, it is inherently a more interesting and I think richer concept than the many takes on evil Superman that just kind of shat out all over the 2000s. Of course, the only one of those really worth a damn was the Justice Lords episode of Justice League. That and the 2 Injustice fighting games, which the story's wonky, but they're pretty fun games to play, at least.
I did like the episode of Justice League that was supposed to bring a close to the DC animated universe.
Which one specifically do you mean?
It basically had an older Terry from Batman Begins.
Yes, right. The epilogue to it was basically called Epilogue, and it was the end of season 2 of JLU. That's right.
And it actually ended with almost the exact same scene that Batman the Animated Series opened with.
That was a pretty neat note. Even though I'm kind of mixed on the revelation that episode brought about, and it maybe seemed a little bit out of step with the rest of Justice League and JLU up to that point, it was still interesting, and I could see what they were going for. Mm-hmm. And then it got a third season, and it kind of undermined its poignance, but that third season gave us a lot of great stuff, so I can't really complain too much.
And, of course, Prime is familiar with the nail. And it was really good.
If there's any major comic event that Prime doesn't know about, I'd be pretty surprised. I don't want to put that, expectation of knowledge on him, but God, Prime knows so much more about comics than I ever will. Hell, Rob, you even know more than I probably ever will.
You can blame that on both my younger brother and Sam.
Exactly.
So...
so Prime is not a fan of the thing that it... Yeah, I was really mixed on it.
That was pretty bad. Although it was nice to see the Phantasm again, even if briefly.
That was a really nice nod, yes. I was going to say, they brought blank back, but if you still haven't seen Max the Phantasm, I shouldn't say.
Well, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Anyway, we seem to inevitably be talking about superhero junk again, but I don't want the stream to just entirely be that.
Well, then
it's always what we've been like the past 3 streams or whatever.
Well, then let me switch tracks. Okay. I know we had our Star Wars stream, but I want to talk about one thing, since we're also on a comics topic.
Gladly.
Tag and Bink. Have you ever heard of Tag and Bink?
No.
I have heard of it, but let me see if I remember the premise. They're like a couple of weirdos who are basically like in the background of every major event to happen in the series. Is that true?
For the first 6 episodes, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Sam sings the praises of Tag and Bink regularly, so...
That's probably why I know that, yeah.
I've read all of them. They're hilarious. It's a Star Wars comedy series.
Star Wars Tag and
But it's not the Christmas special. Interesting.
Oh, you mean the holiday special?
Yes.
It's not Christmas, Snarboo. It's Life Day.
Yeah, Life Day, where everyone gets dressed up in their finest red robes and Carrie Fisher sings.
Also, VR Wookiee porn for some reason. How did they get Diane Carroll to do that anyway? I'll never know.
I don't know. But we try not to talk about that. But hey,
it's kind of like B. Arthur's song in it. I'm not gonna lie.
It did give us the story of the faithful Wookiee, so it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, the actual origin of Boba Fett and Han Solo with the stretchiest face this side of Mount Rushmore.
The best thing about that, though, was looking at the actors' reactions. It's like you had Mark Hamill, who looked like he was covered with a pound of women's makeup. And that was, of course, because of the accent he'd been in recently.
That is true, yeah.
You had Harrison Ford, who looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there.
As expected.
And Carrie Fisher, who was coked out of her mind.
Yeah, I heard that she was. I mean...
You could see her coke nail in a couple of scenes.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't even... Wow.
Yeah, it's true, Mo. The Wookiees all put on these red robes and walk into a big ball of light, and next thing you know, they've been transported to like their Life Day tree, and for some reason, also Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie are all there.
Yeah, although if I may play the kayfabe, using that word again and getting us somewhere else. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition! Our main weapons are surprise. Surprise and fear. No, 2 main weapons. Surprise, fear, and, well, no, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't tell you the entire speech, but I suppose we could talk about Monty Python for a bit, because I'm not sure we have enough juice to do an entire stream on that.
Aside from Holy Grail being one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Life of Brian also being really good. And pretty much everything I've seen from The Flying Circus just being funny.
Yep.
And let's also But if you're going to talk about the Spanish Inquisition, you got to talk about the rest of the Spanish Inquisition. You know, you're wishing that they'll go away, but the Inquisition's here, and it's here to stay.
That was my favorite bit of History of the World Part 1. It was actually very impressive.
Yeah. So send in the nuns! I would totally be up for a Mel Brooks stream.
Oh my god. You know what? Fuck. You know what? Let me write that down, because, yeah.
Thank you, Prime.
Let me see.
Let's face it, you can't talk him out of anything.
There we go. Idea Mel Brooks stream. There we go. Oh, hey, Brandon.
It's a nonsense word that I made up, which is kind of a riff on something Homestar Runner did once.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah. It's the 30th episode of Dyer's Place, which is why I did it.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't really have a good idea, although I like the way my dumb brain works, I can really just bumble into any damn tangent that I want, and, you know, make a ramble out of it. That being said, I feel like I haven't given Snarb much of a platform for the past 10 minutes. I apologize for that. So,
also,
you have the spotlight, sir.
Before you do that, just read the description on the stream. Go ahead, read it out loud.
Okay, tonight is the 30th episode of Dyer's Place. Prepare for a random free-for-all with battles in the Thunderdome and gladiator matches between titans. You know, the usual. Yeah, okay. That's fair.
You know, since you gave me the floor for a second, I just want to say a lot of people don't know about the lesser-known mitosis dome, where one man enters and two men leave.
Hang on.
Yep. With Scarf the happy boarworm. Yeah. All right, you know I got to link that again.
Yes, okay, Brandon, I have not eaten hot dogs with peanut butter, but I have had a burger with crunchy peanut butter once. I was out of cheese, and I was like, I need something on this burger, and shockingly, it's actually pretty good. It's a good substitute for cheese.
I am now thoroughly disgusted.
I guess I should mention the Sinner's Sandwich from Deadly Premonition, if either of you guys know about that.
It's like turkey, jam, and potato chips, right?
No, well, two out of three. Yes, turkey and strawberry jam. The third ingredient is cereal. Like
cornflakes.
Yeah, cornflakes, Cheerios, a more relatively neutral cereal like that. Like, it probably wouldn't work as well with Oops All Berries, but, you know, you could if you wanted.
You know what you guys are missing, though, right?
What's up?
The Twinkie Wiener Sandwich.
Yes.
I'd almost try it, but it would be... It's the hot dog, I think that's the weak element there, because they're just so salty.
Well, you know that...
grease, all you can taste is the hog anus.
You know, Mike, that also means we should do a Weird Al stream at some point.
I am shocked we have. Holy shit! Yeah,
you know, and given he's retired at the moment, it would actually be possible to do every album he's ever done.
Yeah,
that is a good point.
And of course, the Weird Al show. We can't forget that.
Yeah,
absolutely. That is the Weird Al show.
It's been ages since I've seen it, but I remember him getting mad at a banner saying Harvey the Wonder Hamster is mediocre, which rightly he should.
And of course, there's also like the Complete Al. There's Al TV. There's Weird, the Al Yankovic story. And
that was actually really fun, yeah.
Yes, it was. And of course, let's not forget his ultimate achievement in movies, UHF.
You got it. Yeah. It's still a favorite of mine. I couldn't tell you how many aspects of it really hold up, but it's just a fun fucking time.
Best joke in the movie right here. What do you think R.J. Fletcher Sr. would be saying if he were alive today? Quick, help me out of those bugs. Can't breathe. Help me out. Well, it's not that he's retired, Sharon. He just hasn't done an album since, like, what, 2014?
Yeah, that was.
It's been over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely not obligated to keep making more. If I guess he's like in a period of quote unquote soft retirement until he formally announces anything either or. Like we could get another album out of him, but I'm going to be a bitter crankshaft and say that the last decade for music has been just kind of a nothing burger. So he probably hasn't been too inspired to do much because, frankly, popular music is kind of garbage today.
Mm-hmm.
I say it as a sweeping generalist statement, which someone's probably going to actually me for. You can if you want, but I'm just going to be old fart and digging my heels here. Like I at some point you just kind of have to put in. You just have to kind of draw a line and admit that this just isn't really for you anymore. Also, obligatory Abe Simpson speech, the one. I'm not going to go there.
Yes. I was going to say, though, this decade of music can't be that bad if there's a new Cardiacs album, so...
That's right. That's fucking bonkers they actually got back together. That's awesome.
Yes. I've listened to most of that album. It's really good.
I have got to listen to the Cardiacs more. I just know that Sing to God is a crazy fucking ride.
Yeah. It's a mega double album, basically.
Yeah.
And now it's time to ask the obvious question. The Cardiacs?
They are what I would describe as a cult band. They started in the 80s as this weird fusion of prog and punk music, which, if you can imagine what that sounds like, it's very strange. And they first started off kind of underground, and then they got some, they started getting more successful. And then they kind of took a break from making albums. And then their lead singer and songwriter, I know his first name is Tim, I forget his last name. He had a heart attack and a stroke at the same time, and it basically paralyzed him. He couldn't speak anymore or sing, and obviously his mental capacity wasn't the same. So they produced enough material for another album, but it didn't come out until this year. It's known as LSD, I believe. I'm trying to think what album to recommend. Sing to God is a great album. It was my introduction to it, but it's also very dense.
Yeah, like if you were to start with Yes on fucking Tales of Topographic Oceans, that would be a bad idea.
That was actually one of my first Yes albums, if you can believe it. It was the latter. It was the latter. Was it then going for the one in drama and then Tales from Topographic Oceans? I forget the exact order, but I know the latter was first, and then somewhere in there was Tales from Topographic Oceans. I like that album a lot, actually. It's better than people give it credit.
Yeah, no, I think that one and drama are both underrated, yes.
Drama is really good.
Just to go back to the chat for a sec here, Brandon, I don't think so.
I don't think Captain Beefheart has written anything at all. I can look that up, though.
Yeah,
he died in 2010, so no, he wouldn't.
That's what I thought. Yes, I was like, wait, didn't he pass away?
Captain Beefheart, I actually don't know a lot about. I think my brother does. I could stand to get more into him because he has had a little bit of cross fusion now and again with Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, who I do like a lot, but that is a crazy. Oh God, Zappa. Wow is all I can say. I don't know if this is the place to start it. I know Rob doesn't really know a lot about him. Snarb, how much of Zappa do you know? Gotcha.
I don't know a lot about Frank Zappa other than he did the theme song to Duckman and a bunch of other stuff for that show. And as a result, whenever it gets re-released, they have to cut a lot of the content and music because there's something going on with his estate.
Oh yeah, no, that's been really like I think there's basically just been a long time struggle between like whoever his partner was and like his children or something. One of those like Casey Kasem fucking messes or whatever. You know how family estates get it. That's never good.
Also, to answer Mo's question, I know we touched on Studio Ghibli in the anime stream, but we have not done anything specifically about Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, I'm going to admit, I'm going to be that asshole and admit I'm not the hugest fan of Hayao Miyazaki, so I'm not sure if we will have one.
That's
He
a
has
subject
his
I know a
ups
bit
and
about.
downs.
Yeah. I said that while looking away from the screen really sheepishly for some reason. Like, why am I doing that?
I like a lot of Ghibli's work myself.
It is really good on the whole. Just, I don't know. I wouldn't really put any of his films in like my top 100. I've been
Not even Nausicaa? That was a really good one.
What
I'm
about
mixed
Warriors of the Wind?
Less said about that, the better, as I understand it.
You troll.
Go on.
Snarboo, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on him, or I was. It's like I saw Mononoke and I wasn't really thrilled by it as a teenager. I need to rewatch that one, but then I think the second one I watched was Ponyo, which I really liked. And then, what was it? Howl's Moving Castle, which I also really liked. And then Nausicaa, which I also really liked. So it's less mixed and more just I need to digest more of his films. You know, you kind of have to be in a specific mood for his stories because they are incredibly dreamlike. They're very strange in the way they're paced and told.
Also, Snar, let me just say that my daughter would appreciate what you just said about Howl's Moving Castle. As one of her favorite movies.
I don't know why I like it so much, but it's just there was something. Okay, I don't know what the book is like. It was actually based on a fantasy book, and from what I understand, it's a pretty good one. But the movie has this sort of like it's kind of a family drama, like a found family drama. Like you have this girl, she gets turned into an old lady by a witch, but then the witch kind of gets cursed, and she has to take care of her, and she's also involved with this asshole wizard who also needs to be kind of taken care of. So it's just very interesting. I really like it. The backstory and drama is not quite sensical. It doesn't quite. I don't know. It's a nonsensical movie, but the actual like parts that get told, I really enjoyed, and I like the backdrop of the world as well. It's a very. I could stand to see him do another movie like that, and I think he's done other sort of steampunky films. So.
Well, then you need to watch Castle in the Sky.
I do.
That is my
Laputa,
favorite.
Or?
Yeah. That is my favorite Ghibli movie of all time. And
is that the one with the robot?
Yes.
Oh, I need to see that one.
Yes.
I will say, despite being the most relatively recent one I saw, I think I would also say that Castle in the Sky is probably the best Miyazaki film.
Also, let's not forget this. It was also the inspiration for the Twinbee game, starting with Zatanna.
Wow, really now? You know, I could kind of see that now that you mention it, but I never really put two and two together. That's really interesting. I do have a rather, like, really dumb Neanderthal reason for liking Castle in the Sky more than the rest of this works. This is probably going to at least roll one person's eyes, I'm sure.
Oh, let's hear it.
I appreciate that it is a Miyazaki film that has an actual antagonist in it.
Muska?
Yeah, it's very interesting how that worked in Howl's Moving Castle. You think someone's going to be the villain, then they're not. And I kind of appreciated that in some ways.
Yeah, and Spirited Away, like, not really. And, like, in Mononoke, maybe that short guy, but, like, he wasn't, like, the big evil. I don't know. Miyazaki seems to have an allergy to writing a solid antagonist, and that's a real asshole and stupid straightforward thing for me to say, I'm sure, but Colonel Muska was quite impressive, and I did see the dub where Mark fucking Hamill voiced him, and he was great for that. Like I once, like a really distant demo reel for becoming the Joker. Obviously, he wasn't that over the top, but like that was a showing of, hey, you know, Hamill can play a good fucking villain. Who knew?
Well, here's the thing about Miyazaki's work, though, is he doesn't write stories that require antagonists half the time.
Right.
Hey, here, two cases in points: My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service.
That is true. I guess those didn't really. I just sound like I'm like, you know, just a brainless popcorn eater who's there for the CGI punch fest in the third act. That's I'm like my opinions are what they are, but I also am sounding like an idiot. Like when I
So
announce
what you're telling me, Mike, is that the Michael Bay Transformers movies, those are your absolute most favorite movies of all time.
Well, I know that second one was one of your friend's favorites.
Yeah, I still think about that, how he turned to me after I had seen that movie with my eyes in the theater and said, I don't know why people said it was so bad. I liked it. And it was like, oh my God. Oh, I think it gave me a headache on the spot.
Let me step one thing straight here. Those movies are a figment of someone's imagination.
Yep.
There was one Transformers movie, and it was animated and came out in 1986.
And it had
it was very good
in its soundtrack,
Yes,
and it was very good. Yes.
And yes, Mo, you should see Kiki's Delivery Service. I like that one a lot. It's it's about a teenage witch who apparently, when witches reach a certain age, they have to go out on their own for a year and, learn how to properly use their powers and things like that. And that's what she does, and she meets a colorful cast of characters along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And also has a talking cat, who in the English dub is voiced by the late, great Phil Hartman.
It was,
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kiki, how high are we going? As high as we need to, Gigi. Why? Oh, because there's an airplane beneath us.
I think I will have to take Snarb's advice and actually look at Miyazaki's works with a certain mindset in mind to approach them. Don't get me wrong. I did like all of them, and I have seen most of his works. I just am not sure if, like I said, if I wrote like a top 100 movies list, I'm not sure if I would put any of his works on there. Maybe that would be a stacked list, with mostly live actions. So I should think about like a top 20 animated movies list or whatever. But I might have been a little harsh on him. I will admit this. I'll have to give him a more thorough scanning at some point in the near future.
Brandon, I don't know what Transformers movie you're talking about, but this Optimus Prime is not evil. Never goes evil in this movie. Sacrifices his life.
I think he's referring to the fourth one where he screams, "Give me your face!" or whatever.
Fourth
was
one,
that The Last Night or Age of Extinction? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
That was Age of Extinction, I think, which everybody agrees I think is one of the worst films in that series.
There was another series of Transformers movie. I don't recall ever hearing about these.
You're very fortunate to live in that timeline, Rob, but unfortunately I live in the one where there is another one, and it is quite a painful existence. So,
I'm so
best
sorry.
to remain where you are.
Oh, I
will proudly brag that I have never seen any of the Bayformers films, and I'm going to keep it that way. Hell, I've barely even seen any footage of the first movie at this point, outside of like the trailers or whatever, and I've forgotten almost all of it, and I will continue to do that because there are so many other movies I haven't seen, and I don't have time to be wasted on mediocrity. That's all there is.
No more Optimus Prime.
I think the Bumblebee film was good. It
is. It's really good. It has John Cena, and he's the only person that has any sense in the movie because, like, they're thinking to do a deal with the Decepticons, and like he just straight up says, they literally call themselves Decepticons. It's like, why would you want to make a deal with them?
Yeah, exactly.
He should try and do an SDFU on Rumble. I'm sure he's like roughly comparable in size.
Now, here's a bit that Prime will know. No more Optimus Prime. Grant me mercy, I beg of you. You, who are without mercy, now plead for it? I thought you were made of sterner stuff.
That's such a badass life. Well, wasn't that the very first episode of the original series?
No, that was the movie.
That was from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
I thought you said literally, Optimus Prime had beat the shit out of Megatron,
and then Megatron spotted the blaster under a pile of rubble, and he probably wouldn't have succeeded in what he was doing if Hot Rod didn't act all impulsive and jump him. So of course,
Hot Rod got so much fucking hate forever for like a long time. Poor guy, though. He's unfairly dunked on, from what I gather.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know, at least, yeah. But you know, at least Prime got the last word in that fight. I
No
would have
kidding.
waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.
Hey,
Never.
I addressed this in the chat, but something Prime said earlier. I get that there's good stuff out there if you dig for it, but the fact that you have to dig for it says a lot about what's popular now. That is what I've been saying for fucking years,
It
and
feels
explaining
like,
why I think modern music sucks. So thank you, man.
you know, as an aside to this, actually, I actually watched K-pop Demon Hunters recently because it has a lot of hype behind it. And the music in that sounds just like the same sort of auto-tuned music that came out 10 years ago. It's really weird where music is right now. It hasn't really changed for a decade. The movie itself is fine. I won't go into too much detail there. But yeah, I was like, wow, we're still doing the auto-tune. We're still doing this kind of bass line and this kind of poppy vocals. It's like, wow. Okay. These days, I try to stick to Bandcamp. Sometimes I'll just do a YouTube dive. I'll literally click on some song or band I have never heard of if it has an interesting album cover, and then see what YouTube recommends me. And sometimes you can find some good stuff that way, but you have to tolerate sometimes a lot of crap to get there.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of the stuff that I've been introduced to is not necessarily new, but did come out in this century. You know, like, for example, Sam had recommended we check out a band called The Birthday Massacre.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They
I've
are
listened
good.
to, I forget which album it is, but it's a good one.
Oh, they got a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
My favorites so far are, let's see, Pathways, Pins and Needles, and Walking with Strangers.
I think it was Walking with Strangers that I listened to. That is a good one.
Yeah, that's probably like their like relatively biggest known one, the mainstream. I would say that one's arguably to them as Miliora would be to Ghost, is like probably their like best like get into point, arguably. Although Frequel's really good too, but I just wanted to say Ghost is also awesome, as we know, at least. So,
Yep. And then let's not forget too, our friend Chris also introduced me to Sabaton.
That's right. There's some good shit too.
Yeah, and I love it. It's like metal, but everything's based on history.
It's a solid fucking concept, I gotta say.
Yeah, and they do it well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I like Snarb said, I found some stuff on YouTube every so often that's pretty good. Like a lot of synthwave kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that out there.
Like one band, I would call them a band, but one group. Anyway, they're called The Midnight. And they're pretty darn good. What's interesting is one of their videos is actually made up of nothing but clips from Back to the Future.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's for the song Gloria, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
And let's see. And then I know a friend of mine had introduced me to Starcadian, who I found out recently had actually died.
Oh, that sucks.
Huh.
Yeah, he was killed in a car accident in New York, apparently.
Bogus.
Yeah. But put on some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to generalist sweep and say that all music today is terrible. Just that most music today is terrible.
Yeah,
but
that's on the pop side of things, basically. If it's popular.
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just bitter because, like, I'm a rather schlubby middle-aged white guy, and rock's still probably my favorite genre, and that
Same.
has been a lot more mixed now than it has been in the 20th century.
Are you saying that you're not rocking on forever? Forever. Forever.
Forever.
I said I wasn't going to do the Abe Simpson thing, damn it.
You
I didn't do the
Snarb
whole
did.
thing, to be fair.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Now, you know, there's also occasionally you're going to have a guilty pleasure too, which is something that no one would ever expect you would listen to.
Yeah.
I'm debating if I should mention mine or not because I'm liable to get eggs thrown at me.
I mean, I can mention one that I know you hated when you listened to it.
Oh, go ahead.
I find Uptown Funk catchy.
That is actually a pretty decent one. I can't fault you for that one. I think there was a version of the music video, I think it was Uptown Funk, where someone dubbed over it with like the cantina music from Star Wars. I think it was Uptown Funk. I'll have to look that one up.
Okay, that'd be fucking cool.
There might have been another one. I have to look it up.
There was one I saw where they took like a 30-second clip from a video and put the Cantina theme over it, and it worked so well because it synced up with the dancing and everything. And I can't remember who that was. And you know, Mike, admittedly, I wasn't a fan of the song, but I didn't outright hate it either.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Although, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend DJ Cumberbund's Uptown Frank, where he fuses it with Feed My Frankenstein from Alice Cooper.
I have seen that.
Huh.
It's a good one.
Oh,
and another source gets factored in, which I'm not going to spoil because its inclusion is incredibly brilliant, in my opinion.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, then yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know, Snarb, you have I guess you could say, guilty pleasure?
In terms of music, I have a few, but for some reason, the only one that immediately comes to mind is, oh god, what is the name of it? I think, is it Still My Sunshine? For some reason, I really liked that one, and I'm not sure
Still
why.
My Sunshine by Len, was it?
Yes, that's the only song that I think they really did of note, but it just hit me right at the time. I was like, yeah, this is catchy, it's kind of nice, it's got cheesy vocals, but they just kind of work. You got this guy with this really weird voice, with this woman with this really high-pitched voice, and again, they play off of each other. It's kind of cool.
That's a good pick, but can you think of a more contemporary choice?
Yeah.
Because that one
Okay,
was
if
from
we're
the
talking
90s.
contemporary,
Mm-hmm.
oh god.
Like the past 10, 15 years, if possible.
Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think of one that I really, really dig.
I'm really sorry I put you on the spot.
God. I'm trying to think of one that's kind of contentious or that's kind of, like, oh, why would I ever listen to this? And I'm having trouble, unfortunately, at this time.
Hey, no worries. While you think of that, I would like to hear what Rob was thinking that he'll get stuff thrown at him for admitting.
No, I want to hear yours first.
I said Uptown Funk. Well, that was my choice.
You guys are just doing like individual songs. Are there any actual like artists?
Artists we listen to.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to think of that. Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. Oh, dang.
Well, I would say I do like what I know of Dua Lipa, but Rob also likes her, so that doesn't really count.
All right, cue the eggs. That's it.
Oh, that wasn't. Well, I kind of spoiled the beans there.
Thanks, Mike. Now everyone
Look at
knows.
what music library I have on my computer right now and see what I have. Hold on. Old albums. The Killers actually is one I can immediately think of. I just remembered that.
Okay, solid pick.
I found them through Day and Age, and it's just a fun album. I just appreciate that. I don't know why. It was just, again, hit me the right way at the right time.
I do. You know what? Now that you mention, I do remember another more modern band whose stuff you said was like the world's dumbest stage play. If you wanted to mention them,
gosh, I know who you're talking about.
But if you don't want to, then that's okay.
No. It's Fall Out Boy. That's it. I like a lot of their music too, because again, it sounds like it's music from like a stage show or a stage play you have never heard of, and it's always this weird sort of crazy stuff, like, or it's just silly stuff. Like they did an entire song about Uma Thurman, and I think that had the Munsters theme in it for some reason.
I've heard that song recently. My youngest stepdaughter was playing it in the car one day.
Oh, nice.
It is actually kind of catchy.
It is, yes.
And Brandon, yes, unfortunately, there is no more Motorhead or Meatloaf, or, well, no doubt. But yes, for some reason, Axl's still hanging on.
Oh.
You'd think he would have called it quits after Chinese democracy.
Yeah. Yeah. What's this about No Doubt, though? Did they break up?
Well, didn't Gwen Stefani go off and do her own solo career?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess so. But I didn't know that was like a hard declaration that the band actually dissolved.
I haven't seen anything new from No Doubt in at least a couple of decades, I don't think.
Yeah, they kind of lost me with Hella Good and onward, so I couldn't tell you what.
But I do remember seeing Gwen Stefani on an SNL skit.
Oh, neato.
With Peter Dinklage.
Huh, oh shit.
Space Pants.
Oh wait, no, I do remember that one. Yes, that was pretty excellent.
What's Gwen Stefani doing hanging out with Space Pants? I refuse to acknowledge what Sharon just said. Yeah. But yeah, Prime, I kind of feel the same way. I think in my case it helps that I have like early 20-something-year-old daughters.
That would help a lot, yes.
Because it was my middle daughter that introduced me to do I don't know how to pronounce their last name. Is it Lipa? Lipa?
I think so.
Lipa.
Lipa?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
She's Lebanese, I think?
Something like that. I think her father was actually in a metal band or something.
Cool.
But, yeah, she clued me into the song Levitating because of the music video, which was all done anime style.
Mm-hmm.
And then I happened to see, in the YouTube, the recommendations on the side, there was another one that looked like a Merry Melodies cartoon. So I checked that out, and I liked that one even better. And, well, just kind of steamrolled from there.
That's how it always goes.
Yeah. She's fond of calling me a, quote, Dua Lipa stan now. It's like, I wouldn't go that far. But if you want to think so, sure, go ahead. But, this kind of thing happens to me every so often. All right. Mid-90s. Very much entrenched in alternative and metal and industrial and all sort of stuff. And one night I'm in the kitchen at home and I hear my younger brother playing a country album. Now, usually I can't stand country music. But I'm listening to this singer and I'm just like, who owns that absolutely beautiful voice? I must know. That was Martina McBride. And after sitting there and listening to it for a couple of minutes, I asked him if I could borrow the tape the next day. And he looks at me like I'd just grown an extra head. And it's like, I want to listen to this some more. So I go to pick up my now ex-fiance when she had to go to work that day. And she gets in the car. I start the car and Martina's playing. And she gave me almost an identical look. And it's like, what? I can't listen to something that's not rock or metal or industrial or whatnot? So, and yes, and she's to date the only country singer I've ever bought any albums by. That's not to say I like everything she's done, though.
That's more than I can say for myself. I have yet to find a country performer that I enjoy. I know bluegrass is good stuff, but I couldn't tell you any of the famous performers that do that sort of, music. So
there is one that I heard, especially when they teamed up with the lead singer of Toad the Wet Sprocket. They did a album called Mutual Admiration Society, and on that album was actually a cover of Toad's song Windmills, and it was pretty good. I just wish I could think of the name of the bluegrass band that was with them. At least I think they're bluegrass. I might be wrong, because I don't know jack shit about bluegrass.
ZZ Top does some good music, Brandon.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget they did the theme song for Back to the Future Part 3.
That is
I
true.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Really? You're not just yanking my chain?
No, I'm not. To be fair, it's been a long time since I've seen the third one. I barely remember it.
The song was called Double Back. And ZZ Top themselves actually appears in the movie.
Oh.
They're the band that plays during the Hill Valley Festival, and they do an instrumental version of Doubleback.
Yep. It has a beat and you can dance to it.
Yep. TV dinners. I don't remember that one, but now I want to look it up.
I'll have to see that, though. Borderline sci-fi horror, huh?
Yeah, I want to look that up now. And of course, you got your classics like Legs and Sharp Dressed Man, and I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head. But Planet of Women was a good one. But yeah, ZZ Top was good stuff. I also enjoyed their appearance on King of the Hill.
That's right. That was an interesting little bit of canon that they confirmed. It felt like maybe the most silly, like almost like mid-ladder Simpsons move they could have done, but I was amused by it. I'm not gonna lie.
That was funny.
It was, yeah. Snarb, do you know what I'm referring to?
I don't know if I saw that episode of King of the Hill. I've only seen really the first 2 seasons and then scattered episodes since.
Well, the premise of the episode is that Dusty Hill from ZZ Top, rest in peace, actually turned out to be a cousin of Hank Hill's, canonically.
Yep.
And that he was at the time hosting a reality show that he dragged Hank into to deliberately troll him, but he eventually grew a conscience, so.
And the other 2 guys from ZZ Top are there too.
Yeah.
So they had the whole band.
Yeah, Billy Gibbons and Frank Beard, the one who doesn't have a beard.
Yeah.
I always love that little bit of irony.
I will give it to King of the Hill for having, actual musicians as guest stars.
Yeah, I mean, there's one episode where they went to a country fair, and
Yes.
Randy Travis was willing to portray himself as a deliberately plagiarist shitbag, which was pretty amazing. Yeah. And I know that had Winona Judd, Brooks and Dunn, and probably a few other people who I'm not remembering right now.
And don't forget too, of course, a musician who became a recurring cast member.
Yes, Tom Petty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he voiced Lucky, who I thought people dumped on too much. I really didn't have much problem with him, to be honest.
I like Lucky.
Yeah, no. When the main characters, like King of the Hill in the latter seasons did sort of, I think, wonk off a bit. Like, it was nowhere near as bad as Simpsons, but maybe there was a little bit of Flanderization going on, especially for Peggy. But having Lucky as just this rather calm, laid-back, aloof, almost zen hillbilly was actually kind of a grounding presence, I felt, for the most part. But yeah, I know we were going to have a little inside baseball. We considered having a King of the Hill /
Beavis and Butthead.
Mike Judge
stream recently, but the unfortunate death of Jonathan Joss and the circumstances behind it kind of dispirited me from it. So I'm not going to throw that idea entirely off the table. I think I would like to get to that someday, but I don't know. It still feels a little too soon for just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Take that as you will.
We give it time.
Yes, that's all we can do, really.
Sharon, you're not talking about Perry Grip, are you?
iPad.
Perry Grip was the lead singer of Nerf Herder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And on his own, he did songs like The Girl at the Video Game Store, The Girl Who Listened to Rush, and all sorts of things like Cat Flushing a Toilet, and Chimpanzee Riding on a Segway, and Wiener Dog on a Mini Moog.
I also remember, do you like waffles? Yeah, we like waffles. Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like well, anyway, yeah.
Miss Pac-Man, baby, I'm in love with you. He even did his own version of the Ewok song.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, he's got some good stuff.
Indeed.
He does not care if he's wasting water. He likes to push the handle and watch the water go down. Because he's a cat flushing a toilet. Meow. Yeah, another idea we tossed out for a stream was, and I don't know what kind of traction this would have at all, but basically talking about pets.
Yes.
You know, funny stories, stupid stories, the idiots of the animal world, the geniuses of the animal world, that kind of thing. I will say one thing. We got a puppy a few months back. Big guy. His name is Indy. Which is, of course, short for Indiana. Because we named the dog Indiana. And, you know, I will say, I could say a lot about that dog, but I will never call him stupid. Because he is actually very smart. I thought Mo would be up for that one. Do you like Arby's? Does anyone like Arby's?
I do, actually.
I do.
I don't mind Arby's. Yes, I did. I hit it off with one of Mo's cats. His name was Chad. He was a good cat. He was a Maine Coon, wasn't he? And dead silence filled the room.
Yeah, I was wondering. It's like, did it? I was trying to figure out who would pull the draw first here, you know, or who to draw first, so to speak. It's like, did the call die?
Well,
yep, see, I was right.
What
he was a Maine Coon.
What comment that I could offer, because I'm not going to nix the idea of a pet stream. However, I will have to take the night off because I've never actually owned any, so I literally cannot contribute to it.
Boo.
Shut up.
So much for, and with me as always is Mike.
And with me sometimes, always.
Yeah, make all these never, sometimes maybe, or whatever the name of that movie was.
And sometimes with me, like tonight, is Mike.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to adjust that at this point because, you know, we can't literally say that, I guess, at this point.
Maybe we need a synthetic or robo mic on the side that just like says, "That's a very good point."
Or we could do
sound like a thing I'd say, along with just apologizing a huge fucking lot.
Or we also do this. It's like, welcome to tonight's episode of Dyer's Place, except for Mike, who has the evening off.
Yep.
Mike is
that
off
works
tonight.
Too.
But let's see. A pet rock. We'll put the pet rock on in your place. And you can talk about all the funny things your pet rock does.
The pet rock at this point just makes me think of, I need to get rich by thinking of a ludicrous idea like that millions of idiots will buy into.
Name him Clarence.
But it does feel like that idea well has just been mined so thoroughly at this point that I'm not sure I could really get a foothold in on that. I do not know how private entrepreneurship works either, but I'm just thinking out loud about random bullshit now.
Well, now that Mo has brought up the pet rock, I'm reminded of a story I wrote once that actually did feature a rock.
Oh, what's that?
This one will probably never see the light of day, but it was part of the fiction series I've been working on and off for over 20 years now.
Ah, gotcha.
But in it, one of the main characters is the head of security at Madison Square Garden. And that particular night is pretty much almost the last straw for him because this band called Techno Death comes to play. And
wait, I gotta hold it up. I'm going to go with Prime's suggestion. That's a great idea, actually.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I will actually do that if that happens.
Horror novel stream, huh? That'd be interesting. I'd have to read more horror novels, though.
I need to read more novels in general. I am one of those quote unquote English majors that hasn't really read much outside of what I was assigned in high school and college. I know I need to change that. I am a Philistine, but I just have a hard time focusing sometimes, you know?
Yeah, these things happen. $8.
$8, yep.
Well, let me see here. I am going to pull up that story because I still have a copy of it here.
Go for it.
Let's see. The story was actually a smaller part of the larger overarching story, and it was called Not Easily Broken, but the story bit that I wrote in particular here was called Open Up the Cord. Let's see. And Mike, you've read this.
I think I have, yes.
Oh, I know you have.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely been some time. So, Anyway, I think I've got it here. Let me check. Not easily. Bingo. Got it. Along with a couple of stories that Mike wrote.
I did.
You get your money for justice and your chicks for free.
That was the big one, yeah.
So there's also a story called Shadow of the Beast, but no one wants to hear about that one. Oh, let's see. It is story time at Dyer's Place tonight, so gather round, people. Gather round.
It usually is, but yes, do gather around.
Yep. Once the thing actually decides to open, anyway. My friend, don't be a dick.
Who's being a dick?
My word program here. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, that's one of the ones that Sam wrote. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of in-jokes to when I was younger in here. Like, I mentioned a band called the Jolly Jims.
That's right.
That story in particular, that goes back to my friend Steve, who had swore when he was he worked at a grocery store called Cash and Carry, and he swore when we went out to his car, there was a car parked there in the lot with the license plate that said Jolly Jims. Or Jolly Jim. And of course, we went looking for it at some point. He pointed out, and it was just a string of gibberish. It's like, how did you get Jolly Jim out of that? We shot one video as the Jolly Jims because we decided to do that. It was a really bad parody of Beastie Boys' Sabotage.
Yep.
Sabotage.
Except it was Sadbotage.
Sad. Like sadgasm.
Yeah, you see what we did there?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Snard.
Hey, no, let's not hear any of margarine here, okay? So, all right. So here's some choice bits to open up the cord. Let's see. Tony chuckled. Come on, Steve. Don't you think you're being a little harsh? Harsh? Get off it. This is techno death, Metal Man said. That was Steve's code name, was Metal Man. Tony laughed at hearing the band's name again, as they didn't play electronic music or death metal. And we know what they're capable of. Don't tell me you didn't hear about what happened on their 48 tour. They carved a swath of destruction between here and East Reykjavik or something like that. Anyways, they go on. Then you get to, there's a situation. And they can't find the lead singer, Adam. And at that point, Steve and Garrett just kind of look at each other and like, uh-oh. Because the last time Technodeath had come through there, Adam had wandered off, delaying the show for 2 hours while they searched for him, and they finally found him wandering up and down Fifth Avenue, muttering to himself about little green men in kimonos. Then they heard breaking glass over the walkie, and they ran to, the dressing room, and two of the security guys are trying to keep a couple of the other band members from killing each other. That would be Vinny, the guitarist, and James, who is the bassist. And Carl, the band's drummer, was there, but he wasn't doing anything. Just kind of enjoying the scuffle. And so, of course, Steve questions them. It's like, what's going on, fellas? Hey, you stay out of this, metal man. This is between me and James. So Steve looks at James. He looks at Vinny. What do you do? Knocked up my girlfriend. Uh-huh. It wasn't the other 7 guys she spread her legs for this week. I told you to stay out of it. So, James, what's it going to be? I'm not going to fight you, Vinny. Oh, yes, you are. Whoa. How does this help your girl? Stay out of this. When we're done, you're welcome to stay and drink with us, though. And at that point, James stands up, says, guess there's no way around this. And then he whispers to Metal Man, or Steve, not to be a sore loser, but when it's over, if I lose, kick us out of the garden. You sure you want to do this? I guess, just as soon as me and Vinny get the rules straightened out. And Vinny's like, what? Rules in a fist fight? No rules. James kicked him in the groin. Vinny wobbled a bit and went down. Well, if there aren't any rules, let's get started. Someone count 1, 2, 3, go. Carl goes, 1, 2, 3, go. And that's when James punches Vinny in the stomach. And he hits the ground hard. Anyway, they finally find the lead singer in Wagner Park. And Steve goes to find him. And he's down at the water's edge. And Steve approaches him really slowly, not sure if he's in his right mind or not. And he's hunched over something. And finally he gets to within about arm's length of him, and Steve says, hey, Adam, I don't want to go back. Adam says, okay. I didn't say anything about going back. How do I know you weren't? No clue. If you don't go back, though, what are you going to do? Adam sat up and looked at Steve with widened eyes and dilated pupils. I'm going to stay here with my friend. Your friend? Yes, Adam said. He held up a fist-sized rock. I call him Clarence. Clarence. He's very smart. You could always bring Clarence back with you. No, he wouldn't like it back there. They're always taking notes with their eyes. I like things that are real. The water's real. The air is real. You're real. I'm real. Clarence is real. What about James and the others? Definitely not real. Well, if they're not real, they can't hurt you or Clarence, right? I guess not. So there's no reason you couldn't come back with me, right? So they get him back. Concert starts. And at the end, it's a great show. And they finish their last song. And Adam goes, thank you, New York, and runs off the stage. And at that point, the whole crowd's chanting techno death. And that's when Steve catches James making out with Vinny's girlfriend. And anyway, she leaves, and Steve goes to James, and he's like, James? Oh, damn, Steve, I thought you were Vinny. Look, James, it isn't my place to tell you who to fuck and who not to fuck, but I'll be damned if you're going to have you guys going at it if you're found out. I promise, Steve. We won't give you a problem. So, they go back on for their encore, right? And as they're playing, Steve notices something makes his blood run cold. Vinny is glaring at James with an intensity that was frightening. And James didn't notice. And he gets on the walkie to the rest of his guys. And he's like, stay alert. I think we have a problem with Vinny. And then Adam comes back on stage. And as this is coming, Vinny starts to move towards James, but he's still staring at him. But as Adam comes back on the stage, suddenly the whole crowd goes silent. And Steve didn't see Adam come back. And when he turns, everyone's looking at Adam, just completely like, the hell? Adam was standing there, stark naked, holding Clarence in his right hand and gripping the mic stand in his left. He was singing even as the music trailed off. That didn't seem to faze him. New York, he shouted into the mic. I want y'all to meet my best friend, Clarence. And he holds up the rock. Oh, no. Now Clarence and I are going to sing a song that my grandpappy sang to me. Barney must die. And he just goes on with this ridiculous song. And that's when Vinny attacks James with his guitar, and it just turns into a brawl. And when they finally start to get everything under control, Steve is just like, I can't take much more of this. And the next night, another band played the Garden and were on stage for 5 minutes, and they left because the lead singer was a prima donna. And that was it for Steve. He was done. All right, story time's over. I hope you enjoyed that little look into my writing that's never seen the light of day.
It has been a while, but yes.
I left out a lot of stuff, obviously, because I didn't want to sit here and tell the entire story. I mean, that bit's long enough, but if you put the rest of it in with it as well, it's a freaking novel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is what you were writing, so.
Yeah, basically was. Who knows? You may eventually see a novel in this series one day.
And then I get to say, what? And then I get to say, buy my book at that as well.
Yes, you do. So, I'll get to the shameless self-promotion later.
That's the spirit.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now that we've done all that, now what? Well, don't everybody speak all at once.
You trailed off for a second, so I thought, I thought the call had died.
No, I was saying, now what? What are we talking about next?
I actually have something I could rib Mike over, but this was an idea I had for just a quick topic for this one, and it's very simple. It's, what is your favorite Xbox 360, PS3 era game? And you can throw the Wii in there too, and possibly even the DS if you want to cheat.
Video games. Okay, we haven't really touched on those in a while.
Yeah.
They exist. We can talk about them.
Yes, we can. Well, I got to go out on a limb here and say something that's going to completely surprise everybody. It's what's the name of that game again? It's that one with the stuff and the guy who says Splatterhouse. Yeah, that's it. Actually, I could go out on a limb and give you my top 5.
Go for it. Actually,
Yeah.
I knew you liked Splatterhouse, and I actually managed to get a game of that in today. I got up to chapter 3, and it's a little rough at the start, but once you unlock moves, you start to get this real flow going with the combat. I kind of see what they were going for, and it's a shame to hear that it kind of trails off according to Mike, but I'm still curious to see what comes next.
Oh yeah, keep going.
It should be.
But yeah, the development of that game was a real clusterfuck. So cut it some slack when you get to that point.
Yeah,
Will do.
Yeah.
All right,
Perspective's cute. I mean, the best thing about the end is that Rob Mine's name is in the credits. So.
Woohoo!
Wink.
It's true, we are. But let's see, just in no particular order. Let's see, Lollipop Chainsaw, Captain America, Super Soldier,
Mm-hmm.
and let me think. I would say Bionic Commando 2009, but the story just takes it down too many notches.
I need to play that one. I know Mike likes it too. Story aside.
Yeah, no, the swinging and the overall open nature of the maps felt pretty like high flying. It's like the physics, were solid enough. It's I really did like the gameplay. It needed more meat and less
Stupid.
7th gen stupid. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's number 4, I guess you could say. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And just specifically the expansion, there's a story there, right?
Yes. I tried getting into the original Red Dead Redemption. Could not do it. I couldn't. But then Undead Nightmare came out, and I got so heavily into that game. I mean, I played through the whole thing at least twice. And it's not a short game either, so even as an expansion. Besides, I'm a sucker for Weird West stuff. Yeah, that is definitely up there. And the 5th game I could mention is El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron.
Fuck yes.
Love that game.
I still need to play that one.
It's on Steam now. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
a wider. It's left PS3 hell or 360. It's less 7th gen console hell, and a wider audience can now experience it. And I would gladly recommend they do.
And it's an HD remaster.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a better version even.
Supposedly Lollipop Chainsaw, or it's not supposedly. That one also got a re-release, but the supposedly part is I heard it's not very good, so I'm curious about that one as well.
Oh, the repop?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, Mo, that is exactly what it was. Undead Nightmare. That was Zombo, the zombie horse.
I want to say Undead Redemption. I think Undead Nightmare was the last time Rockstar really allowed themselves to have any fun. After that was just like grim, cinematic, whatever the fuck. We're trying to be movies coming for them here on out. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the most overrated games ever made. I'm sorry. But I do like Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 a lot, Undead Nightmare aside, so I'm just being a little bit of a razzie. I just like I hear about GTA 6 being delayed this year, and I'm just like, what's the fucking deal? I mean, like, I kind of know, but is it really worth like just pontificating over so many headlines about GTA 6 is it going to come out or not? I'm like, Jesus Christ, get a life.
Hey, you know what's fun?
I'm just kind of rambling. What's fun? Yes.
Lighting zombies on fire with a torch.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
And riding
very Frankenstein.
And riding death.
Yep.
You actually find and break the 4 horses of the apocalypse.
Yeah, so
it's great.
You can be the literal Pale Rider. Pretty rad.
Oh, my favorite thing to do when that happens, there's this gap in the game. And you go through it in the regular game, and there's really nothing in there. Try it in this, it is swarming with zombies.
Uh-oh.
And if you ride through it with death, anything death touches explodes.
Oh my god.
So you're going through there, it's just like, boom, 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 zombie heads are exploding everywhere, and it's just so fun.
I can imagine that would probably chug the system, maybe.
Actually, it doesn't.
Wow. All right. I guess I'll have to give 360's processor credit for once, if nothing else. So.
But yeah, it's that I would say that those are the 5 games I like the most, not including compilations and ports.
Yeah, those are solid picks.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Yeah.
There's a couple other good ones out there, like the Transformers Devastation.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually have that on Steam.
Yeah, nice. I do too, thankfully. Managed to get it before it got de-licensed, so...
Yeah.
I actually went looking for Undead Nightmare on Steam. They have it, but it comes bundled with the original game, and the price is still too high.
Yeah, that's Rockstar.
Yeah. But I think El Shaddai was on sale.
Oh.
You might want to check, Snarb.
Totally.
Recently or like now?
Recently.
Let me take a look.
within
I
the
mean, there's
last
going to be
few
a big
days.
sale coming up anyway, so let's see.
Brian gives his seal of approval for Devastation. No surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
It was on sale. It's not now. It's the usual price. 30 isn't too bad, but I'm going to wait a little bit then.
Yeah, as soon as that goes on sale, you should snag it, definitely. Now, it may surprise you to know that I've only played a couple of PS3 games. And
Is this where we chime in with the joke that the PS3 had no games? Dust off that old chestnut?
No, it's because I only knew one person with a PS3.
Oh, yeah, that was the experience at the time.
Mm-hmm. And those games were Splatterhouse, because I had to try the PS3 version. And Mike was shocked when he heard this one. Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh, God.
I completely forgot about that.
Well, he handed me the controls. You want to try it? What the hell? Why not? And when it comes to Wii stuff, I played even less. I've played more of the Konami Rebirth games than anything else.
Those were really good, yes.
Mm-hmm. So I've gotten pretty far in Gradius Rebirth. I've gone a decent ways in Castlevania Adventure Rebirth. I haven't played enough Contra Rebirth yet. I really should.
That one's not too long, and it's quite the ride, so...
I must remind myself to do that, then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Mike, what about you?
I have to come up with a top 5 now. This was not in the original
script.
You don't have to.
Not necessarily. It's your best experiences, but favorite games of that era. If you can only think of 1 or 2, that's fine.
So, Gears of War, right?
It's funny because he did play through the original trilogy relatively recently, and he actually came away liking it more than he thought.
Well, no, to explain that, I actually played the first one not too long after its actual release on the 360 itself, and I thought it was okay, but I didn't see at the time, for the most part, what the big honkin' deal was, and there's this one part midway that drove me fucking crazy because I couldn't skip the 2-minute walk up to it, and I get killed by a torque bow like 10 seconds into it a lot, and it drove me fucking batty. Look at all that juice! Shut the fuck up, Cole. I know about that juice, just goddamn it. For whatever
that bit's
reason,
easier with 2 players for what it's worth, because I actually played through a good chunk of the first game in co-op, and the second game entirely in co-op, and that was the era of mandatory co-op for a lot of games, so yeah.
Hold that thought, please. I have some things to say at large. But yeah, many years later, I didn't.
Incoming.
Maybe. I played the second game like a decade later, just on a whim, and again, I thought it was pretty good. It flowed better than the first. It didn't have any like batshit frustrating parts, although there's this one weird vehicle bit that Snarb handedly describes as like ice skating on jizz. It's like really poor handling on ice or whatever.
It's somehow slippery, and yet entirely too, what's the word, like... It's way too slippery, but also, like, it's really hard to get... It has too much inertia. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like... But that is, yes, that's not a bad summary, because it also likes to flip at the drop of a hat. It'll hit a small rock, and then it'll explode, basically.
I thought 2 was... I thought 2 was better than the first, but, like, I still wasn't, like, hyper into it, and the story got stupider, as I think Snarb can attest to.
Yes, it's very dumb.
But then I played through the third, and it clicked. The third's actually really good. It kind of felt like the stupidity it had been pushing for kind of felt like it actually managed to get to a decent dramatic bit. The gameplay felt more refined. There was more stuff to play with. The setting felt more on point. The finale, where you rush through an opulent hotel of all things, or some sort of like really affluent compound or whatever, felt like really exhilarating, and it made me think, oh, Okay. I guess I get it now. Like, like Gears was kind of lightning in a bottle for its time, and after the third game, it kind of felt like it hasn't really hit that point of acclaim that the original trilogy reached ever since. But turned out I enjoyed it for what it was, and could see, at least for the time, why it was as big a deal as it was. So I've had a weird history with the Gears of War series, and I don't know if I'm going to play any more in the series, but at least for one game, it came together and everything went to lockstep, so that was pretty neat.
All right, so what's your actual favorite game then?
Ghost Trick.
That's not a bad choice.
Do you know that one, Rob?
Do I?
It was for the Nintendo DS originally, but I know it also got a Steam re-release. It's by Shu Takumi, the creator of another favorite series of mine, the Phoenix Wright / Ace Attorney games. And the basic premise is that you play as this ghost with an identity crisis who can travel through telephone lines and enter people's souls to rewind time 4 minutes before they die and attempt to manipulate and possess objects to make their death not happen, if possible. It's a pretty weird high concept, but it works really well. Its story is fantastic. It's got a lot of quirky characters in it. It's a pretty neat action puzzler, but it's just so fascinating. And as a friend of mine says, it has like the most remarkably consistent like in-game logic ever that he's ever seen. Like once it establishes, it like never lies to you or never breaks continuity. It's all just really, really well put together, and it almost made me cry at the end too. So there's that.
Aww.
Let me tell you
It's
this.
a fucking great game. Yes.
Everything you just said sounds completely unfamiliar to me.
Okay. Too bad.
So no, I don't think I know that one.
You might know the main character Sissel if you see them. Red suit, shades, a really crazy blonde haircut. If that's not ringing a bell, I mean, like, this one wasn't, like, huge, like, mainstream big, but it did get a decent fandom for its time, and I think it's just one of the greatest stories ever told in the video game medium. So, I'll prod you to at least give it a look at some point. I don't expect you to play it. I don't think it's a Rob game, but it just hit all the right notes for me.
I would expect to see the greatest story ever hooled.
What?
I slipped a Simpsons reference past Mike.
What? Huh? I do not compute.
Hello, I'm Troy McClure.
Oh, okay, it was a Troy McClure title. Yep. You know, I forget too many of those, but I do remember Get Confident, stupid.
Today we kill, tomorrow we die, and Gladys, the groovy mule.
But if you want me to recount a few others that I really like for the era, I mean, here's the thing. But before I get on my bullshit, though, Snarb, your favorite, or at least one of your favorites from this time, if you may.
That's a good question. Me and Mike kind of share something with the so-called 7th console generation in that era kind of just went completely over our head. We really weren't the biggest fans of it, for a variety of reasons, because it seemed like every game was trying to be Gears of War. And that even happened to franchises that were ostensibly more like Mass Effect, for example. It had some cover shooting in the first game, but they went full on with it in the sequels, as I understand it. And that tells you the sort of zeitgeist that existed at the time. Are you a guy? Well, guess what? You're going to be crouching behind a waist-high wall and then popping out sometimes to kill dudes. Granted, not every game was like that. If it wasn't that, it was certainly a first-person shooter, especially a military one. But that doesn't mean that there weren't good games at the time. And I admit, one of my favorites of that... What'd you say?
I named 5 of them.
Yes,
Exactly.
you did. I do like first-person shooters a lot. It was a good generation for that, and I admit one of my favorites is, and I'm actually going to lump these two games together, BioShock and BioShock 2. I haven't played Infinite yet. Mike wants me to keep it that way, but they kind of pair together. They play off of each other really well. So I kind of consider them almost the same game or two parts of a greater whole, but it just hit right. It looks, the whole thematic thing of like Rapture, this city underwater made by a bunch of like crazed objectivists and libertarians, and then obviously it falling apart exactly as you would expect it to. It's just so fascinating, and they really committed to the bit. The world feels kind of video gamey, but it is very atmospheric. They really committed to sort of I think it's Art Deco technically.
Yeah,
I mean, there's different
sort of 1960s, but underwater enclave feel. It is an interesting high concept that they just thoroughly commit to, and yeah, it's just a really neat world to explore for as horrific and full of angry splicers as they're known as it is. But continue.
Wasn't
Yes, the
Art
first game,
Deco more of a 20 and 30s thing?
Yeah, I was going to say Art Deco's is actually 20s or 30s.
Shit, I don't know what the style would be, but it's like that font that like stuff on Broadway had, those really wide letters. That's what I. Okay, maybe that was also a 30s thing. I don't know what I'm saying. Go on.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, it's got a retro futurist sort of look to it. And the story in the first game is really strong. There's a really great twist involving a golf club I won't go into. But anyway, it combined all of these elements together just right. It was a streamlined version of the prior System Shock games with a great setting, a good story, and gameplay that was just good enough to keep you going. And the sequel was even better in terms of gameplay, but it did take a few steps back in terms of the story. I can't even tell you who the real villain of that one is. She was kind of a nothing burger, and then there was
main villain, Sophia Lamb, was definitely a step back from Andrew Ryan, but I did really like the character Gilbert Alexander. I kind of wish he had been the main villain, to be honest. But
yes, there are definitely some interesting characters in the game, and it's almost more of a. It's not exactly a character drama, but each area is sort of thematically focused around a specific sort of, ally, or whatever you want to call it, henchman of the main villain. And I feel like the moral choices that you can make in there are a little bit more substantial than kill little girl / let little girl go free, because you can actually kill or spare major plot important characters, and it actually does change the ending a little bit. Not much, but it does. That was another kind of a thing that didn't always come together. There was a morality system in that game. They kind of hyped it up. It's like, oh, will you be a killer or a really good guy? And it's like, basically, you get rewarded for being good. There is almost no reason to be bad, because you get like more of this currency that I think is used to power yourself up, but then you miss out on other things like exclusive like weapons and like secret caches and that kind of stuff. So it's like, you can do that, but it doesn't serve a point. And the sequel was, I think, a little bit better about it, but not really. That kind of went away in Infinite, as I understand it. There's no real morality system in that, for better or worse. But it's just a game that just hit right at the right time. I still enjoy playing it, going back to it every so often, like I do with System Shock. I'm trying to think if there are any other major ones that weren't a first-person shooter. I actually have been playing Borderlands 2 recently in co-op with Mike and a mutual friend of ours named Weasel, and that game blew over me. I was like, this is just overhyped. I played the first Borderlands. It isn't that great. This can't be that much better. I hate to admit it, but Gearbox was cooking with that one.
Yeah, all the planets really aligned for BL2, and it still remains the most venerated game in the series to this day. And the pre-sequel, as it's known as, because roll my eyes, whatever. But for as much as I liked it, yeah, it wasn't quite 2, and I never got around to 3, I have heard very mixed opinions on that. Borderlands 4 was actually released this year. Seemed like it has been getting better buzz than the previous 2 games, but it still feels like BL2 is the gold standard for the series. So we're just enjoying it for having been released fucking 13 years ago. Wow. But yeah, it's some good stuff.
Yes. And that's partially why I wanted to bring this up, is sometimes it's fun to revisit different decades, and being able to reevaluate something without any of the big hype behind it anymore. Because, hype kills things for me. And I like to judge things for myself, but it's very hard to when there's lots of loud voices telling you how to feel about something. So it was nice playing this older game and kind of getting it just on my own terms. That's kind of a big reason I got into retro games, is once the hype washes away, that's it. It's just you and the game. If we're talking games I played more contemporarily, I think another one I really liked was Singularity, which
a good one.
That's just an amazing FPS game. It's based on kind of the BioShock mold a little bit. There are some BioShocky bits in it, but it's just a wild ride, throughout the entire experience. And if you like first-person shooters, you just want one that's just a good time, that's not a bad choice. And it was sadly Raven Software's last game before they got sent off to the Call of Duty mill, such as it is.
Yeah. I have not much to say about any of this stuff because
I know they're all first-person shooters, and as you know, there's the cheese to be found.
Yeah, that's right. I keep expecting to turn a corner and find a big piece of cheese.
It is very funny, though, that you actually really like the Genesis game Zero Tolerance.
Yeah,
we kind of don't understand how you really like that one, despite it. I mean, it is a good game, and I actually beat it recently, and I really liked it playing it, but it is quirky.
Maybe that's why I like it. It's quirky.
I mean, and I will grant this, whenever you pause, you do get a full map of whatever floor you're on, so that kind of cuts down on the cheese factor.
Yes, that's true.
Although, the last third gets, really, really mazy. I described it as, diner placemat children's maze bullshit or something like that. If that makes sense.
Too much sense.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was proud I managed to think of it like that, but no, it is a fun one. Granted, FPSs over time have been less about mazy design and more about linear quote-unquote corridor shooting and set pieces, and that kind of felt like it overcorrected in the other direction.
Yes, and then now they're all open world games. Like every game these days is kind of open worldy, or a Metroidvania, or a Souls-like, or a roguelite.
Let me tell you one thing here regarding all these genres you just mentioned. You know what? Recent games I played that were good.
What's that?
Salamander 3 and Eartheon.
Yes, Eartheon is amazing.
Yes, it is. And those fit none of those genres, so. Virtual Caveman.
Yes, they're schmoops.
You're damn right. Well, the whole Gladiator Origins collection is great. So, but Salamander 3, the game no one ever expected to happen. But I digress.
What else did I want to say? I'm trying to remember one of a big game I played on the Wii, because the Wii is actually probably my second favorite console after the Sega Genesis, if you can believe it. Mostly just because a lot of the experiences for that system are so unique. And they really tried to make it stand out. It kind of got saddled with the kiddie console, thing all over again, which, Nintendo, they never really shook it. It's just eventually all games just got released for the Switch, basically, so everybody just forgot about that. But and everybody forgot about the Wii U for good reason. But that, I don't know, that was there was just so much to play. There was a lot of retro style games too, like the Rebirth series. I can definitely throw those in some of my favorite games of that era, and I played through like surprisingly, I got through Gradius a bunch of times, like the Gradius Rebirth game, and I'm not the biggest Gradius fan, but it was just right, and I really like this one weird ship. I even got into like the third place in the leaderboards with it. Was it the Type F or something? It had this really weird laser that would fire upwards and then spread out, and it was just really a good weapon. It was a very interesting variant on the weapon system.
I've seen that weapon before in a different game.
Which one?
That would have been in the MSX Gradius 2.
Oh, yeah, they could have been referencing that. M2 is good about that.
All right, Mo. Have a good night.
Bye, Mo.
Hey, see you later, Mo. Always great to have you.
Yeah, because Nemesis 90 Kai was a remake of the MSX Gradius 2. It's in that, too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. I'm just trying to think of any big Wii games I beat. I actually have a very large collection. I think my biggest game collections are the DS and the Wii, and I definitely have played through and beaten a lot of games, but I would actually have to see the covers again. Like, thinking about the 7th gen, I know a lot about the big games, but sometimes I'll stumble upon a game like, wait, what year did this come out in? How come I didn't hear of this? And then you're like, oh, right, yeah, I understand now. This is just a Gears of War clone, or it was like a forgettable title on X-Blah. Sorry, go ahead.
An aside, real quick. I've never owned a Wii in my life, but I actually own 3 Wii games.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to take a stab at what they are, go right ahead.
Oh gosh, there's definitely. I'm trying to think what they could be, because I know that the Rebirth games did not get physical releases as far as I know.
No, they didn't.
Wait, there was an Indiana Jones game for the Wii, wasn't there?
There were 3 of them. Guess which 3?
Yes. I need to play those. I was always curious about those, but I didn't see them in stores, or I was just too busy with other stuff at the time.
Well, I got them as part of my indie collection, not to actually play.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
I've heard mixed things about it. At least one of them, Staff of Kings, I think.
Yeah.
But I know the Lego indie is one of them. And I don't recall what the other one is off the top of my head. Nope, not coming to me at all.
I just know that I like the Wii a lot because you had the Virtual Console. That was a nice feature, of that era. Because that was the era where downloadable games were starting to become big. And, indies were kind of trying to make a comeback, but a lot of them were stuff like Braid, which I'm not going to go into that one. But they were trying to kind of bring back a retro spirit on some cases, and it didn't always hit the mark. But a lot of the games that were released on the Wii, especially it wasn't the Virtual Console, it was the Wii Shop, whatever it was called, like the Rebirth games, they really did actually hit. They hit just right. And there were some I regret not getting to try. Like there was a Blaster Master game that was exclusive to the Wii Shop.
I did play that.
I never got to touch it. How was it?
I couldn't figure out the controls because it was just like, how do you work this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My friend Bromley had a Wii with that on it, so I tried it one day over at his place. And yeah, but when it comes to Blaster Master, I haven't really been a fan of the series since the original.
Yeah, and there's a bunch more now, and it's like I just look at them and I'm like, how did they come out with like 3 or 4 more games since I last looked at this franchise?
Well, look at Blaster Master blasting again.
Yes.
I remember getting that for $10 at Best Buy because it was a late release for the PS1. And I said, Blaster Master. I would say it can't be all that bad, but I remember Blaster Master 2, so... Anyway.
Okay, Mike, you had some choices you wanted to go into, but you were afraid about rambling on. What's the story here, sir?
I think we got onto this subject because both of you have been forced into hearing my ramblings about how the 7th gen sucks a lot. For some reason, I kind of treat that era in games like it ran over my dog or something. my dog that I never had, to be fair. And poured sugar into my gas tank, etc. Like I don't know why, if like I'm just at the point where I still bear a burning grudge against the era. Although apparently saying 7th gen isn't proper, but until they think of a better way to say it, I'm just still gonna say that. So, I don't know how much of it I'm still like genuinely carving tally marks into the wall for, and how much of it is, as we keep using that word, kayfabe nowadays. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, to be fair, that was the era where the West almost killed Japanese games entirely, and you had people saying things just blatantly, Japanese games suck, and not being challenged on it.
That was the thing about the era. It was very jingoistic, and that just feels like something that people nowadays just don't seem to acknowledge enough, and it's like they're trying to whitewash history, like, and I do not like that. It pisses me off that we were allowed to just openly snipe at Japanese games, as if like the 2 past fucking decades before then didn't fucking matter, you idiots.
I wish I'd known this then, because I would have ripped some people a new one.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really like directly privy to it for the most part, but it just felt like there was something in the air. Pixel tax. Prime, what exactly is the pixel tax?
Yeah, I was just about to ask, but yeah, it was very jingoistic, like the biggest games were stuff like Call of Duty and Gears of War. So that gives you an idea of sort of the zeitgeist. But somehow the Japanese devs kind of clawed their way back. Like, the Yakuza series since then has exploded, and, that's still going in a way that Call of Duty and Gears of War maybe aren't as much,
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a place for Western games, and, like, I do like quite a lot of them myself. I mean, my second favorite game ever below Contra is, of course, Doom. And that is, in a way, it was kind of like a Western, like, AA game, quote, I guess is the fucking terminology now, I don't know, for its era. Like, not quite indie, but, like, still was just released by a small team, and it became one of the hugest phenomenons on the goddamn planet, so. But, yeah, Pixel Tax, beginning in the late 90s in mangas,
yes, I remember that as well. I remember that, Prime.
The whole 3D is the way of the future. Everything is polygons. Anything that looks like Symphony of the Night is shit. That sort of thing.
Yes, I remember that. Look at this Symphony of the Night game. It sucks. Now, Legacy of Darkness, on the other hand, or just Castlevania 64, actually.
I like Legacy of Darkness.
That one's actually okay.
It's my favorite of Castlevania's 3. I call them 3D incarnations, because I at least think it has more interesting ideas than Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness, which I thought were all right, but maybe a little plain in some regards. And then there's the Lords of Shadow series.
Yeah, hang on one second. All right. The N64 Castlevania games, I've always referred to as Tomb Raidervania. I would play those in a heartbeat over even having to play one more second of Lords of Shadow. That whole series belongs in a blender.
He does really like the blender for this idea, for destroying the game discs, though. I like how he's specifically fixated on the blender specifically.
Put it on Liquify.
Exactly.
Lords of Shadow is crap. Put simply. But I'll digress from my prepared remarks and let Mike have the floor again.
Yeah, so what I'm basically building to is, like, when this era was going on, I remember most of what I was playing was just the Yakuza series and the Ace Attorney games and the Castlevania DS games.
Yes, the DS.
Uh,
It's hard to remember or hard to think that was actually, or hard, you don't really think about or realize it, but it was a 7th gen console and it had so many good games for it.
It really did have a lot of cool shit, yes. Just about any genre you could ask for, really. But, like, for me, that was it. And I kind of wondered how much longer I'd be keeping up with this whole video games thing. That era actually made me question whether or not I still wanted to keep up with this hobby. And that has never happened since then. Granted, though, the deck is stacked because it wasn't just the games, it's also the fact that I was going through college at the time and I had less time to spend on games. So
Yeah.
I can't really pin that entirely on the 7th gen turning me off. But it still did to an extent. I kind of felt like the games that were coming out didn't feel like they were specifically for me at the time. And I'm like, if this just isn't what they're being made for me now, then I guess it is what it is. Kind of like music today. But eventually, I don't know, just games kind of found their balls again, and they've been, like, the business has been shitty, but the actual quality of the stuff released has been really good. Almost too abundant, even. I can't even keep up with the shit that's coming out for a year.
Well,
but
Mike, you could always put it like this in regards to how you felt during that generation.
Yeah,
you used to be with it. Then they changed what it was.
Just go ahead.
Hey, you're not the one saying it. We are.
I know. Okay, so I'm not going to, but you guys can. I guess that's the rule we're going with.
That said, though, what are your favorites? Like, you already mentioned Yakuza. What else? I know we also brought up Deadly Premonition. Do you want to go into those and some other ones you might have liked? Because, it wasn't all bad. Like, going back to it without the hype, without the jingoism, without, the Bushisms and all that.
Yeah, I mean...
It's a different experience now in some ways, thinking back on it.
What would you think like said for Enterprise?
Maybe.
Had our... 9/11 ruined Enterprise. Like, it was already bad, but then it directly inspired the fucking Xindi arc, and then... fart. Yeah. We've already had our Star Trek stream, though, so I don't know how much more you really want to say about that.
Oh, that's just an aside.
Yeah.
I said, this was going to be a stream full of asides.
Exactly. We are finding a little bit of a focus. I actually batted around the idea of doing a 7th gen stream, but I'm not sure if I just want to be a crankshaft for 3 hours, so we're just kind of compressing it down to this now. But I did want to say that one of the games to actually kick off this era is one of my favorites, that being Capcom's Dead Rising. I.e. the Dawn of the Dead video game with all the serial numbers filed off. Except it takes on the basic premise, photojournalist who has a lot of cool toys to play with, 2x4s, shopping carts, like ketchup bottles, like CDs, jewels, more actual stuff like baseball bats and shotguns here and there. Where
does he get those wonderful toys?
Thank you, Jack. Never rub another man's rhubarb. But it's like, the basic idea is very much Dawn of the Dead. Frank West is holed up in the shopping mall and he's got to survive for 3 days. But the more you play it, it kind of takes on its own very interesting plot direction. And in the end, it kind of is... I don't want to spoil too much, but it kind of is a fuck you to the increasing jingoism of media at the time. I was surprised at the bent that the ending took. Yeah, it's like, hey, it's like I come in saying, hey, funny zombie game. I walk out. Whoa, what the fuck, man? That's just... But, that factor aside, just taking it at face value, yes, it is really fun to just smash zombies with mannequin torsos. And And, like, at some point, I think you even deal with a cult, because of course there's one in a horror setting like this. And then there are those fucking convicts in the courtyard. Those bastards with their infamous boss music. There's a lot of fun butt rock in it also for all the boss fights, or the psychopaths as they're known as. Often heavily armed humans who've been driven mad by the zombie invasion, and there's some real sickos in there. Some are at least one is sympathetic though. But Dead Rising is just a really fucking fun time. The first one did have some roughness to it, but I do think to an extent that roughness did sort of give it an identity, because the Dead Rising had several sequels, and I did like 2 for what it was, but it did feel like it was a bit more Hollywood than the first game, for lack of a better term. And it was starting to stray away a bit from what made the first one as valuable as it did. Then I never got around to 3. I heard it wasn't great, and then I heard 4 just flat out sucked. But the first Dead Rising will always be, I think, a very interesting and special game to me that actually did give me promise for the 360 generation before things went as awry as they did. But, just to touch on a few other games, I agree with Rob. El Shaddai is fantastic, and you should totally play it. This is probably one that's overpraised, but I do really like Portal a lot. And
yes, Portal, that's a good one.
And Portal 2 is really fantastic. I would say, though, that if you're bugged by the first Portal being as short as it is, Portal 2 is a much more fully developed game. Some do like the brevity of the first, but if you were looking for a longer one and you haven't played 2 yet, definitely go for it. They're both very worth playing, is what I'm saying.
Having played Portal, all I have to say about it is this. This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success.
Huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction.
The cake is a lie! Derp, derp, derp!
To go back for just a second, though, to Dead Rising.
The soundboard.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I was going to say, to go back to Dead Rising for just a second, that was the first game I remember seeing that actually sold me on the idea of this being quote-unquote next-gen or HD or whatever, because there were so many fucking zombies in that game, It was ridiculous.
I remember that the fictional town of Willamette, Colorado, that the game takes place in, like, it gave, like, a population, like, 53,000 something, and you got an achievement if you killed that many zombies that was actually on the population sign. It was actually a hard achievement to get, but nonetheless, there were really a lot of fucking zombies. It did get this really bizarre Wii port that made a lot of compromises and was practically a different game. I guess kind of like how Dracula XX was to Rondo of Blood is probably the best comparison to make about it. Like, even if the decade didn't totally cash the check that it wrote, I do think Dead Rising was an enterprising look at what it could have been, even if that's not what it always turned out to be. There was...
Also,
go ahead.
As another aside, Prime said earlier that Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden 2D games hitting the same month feel like an embarrassment of riches right now. It seems to me that's what we've just been having recently with shooters, and it's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, games have been on a really good tear the past several years, but this is also kind of a genie's curse, practically, because, like, there's now fucking too much to get to. There's probably some great shit that I'll never get around to. There's just so much to play, and I have to prioritize it. It's fucking nuts.
I do have to pick up the new Shinobi. I know that much.
I did pick it up, but I didn't get around to playing it yet because a few other games got in the way. But I will absolutely get around to it when I can.
I played the demo for that one and for the Ninja Gaiden game, and they both feel great. I never thought a Shinobi Metroidvania would work, but it really does.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to get around to it at some point, but I have played Ragebound. I have played I have, like, beaten the main missions. There are some side missions I could yet to get around to. Wow, Jesus Christ! The guys who made Blasphemous did this, and They fucking nailed it. It feels so buttery smooth to play. It looks amazing. The gameplay is just really solid. Like, I guess if I only had a complaint about it, I wish there was more of it. I hope it gets DLC down the line, but like, wow. Ragebound is really fucking good, you guys. I cannot emphasize that enough.
It is.
But
And
absolutely.
in my case, I have beaten the absolute crap out of Eartheon, and I
Yeah.
have wasted Salamander 3 a few times.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I really like them as well. I should get around to beating them again because I think when I played Salamander 3, I didn't actually get to kill the final boss in time before he just blew himself up. So, oops.
Oh,
I think I guess they still do that. At least I don't think I got the points for it. Maybe I did. It was ambiguous, so I would like to do it again. But anyway, seventh gen. Let's focus on that again. I'm a huge fan of the. I'm just going to say shooty drug 'em up Hotline Miami. That one became a little bit of a cultural touchstone for indie games when it dropped in 2012, and I just love the style. I love the soundtrack. I love the very fucking chaotic gameplay, and just like I had known of Cactus before because of this really weird duo of the developer Cactus, Johan Wordstrom or whatever. Fuck, Jonathan, whatever his name was. Yeah, shit. Yeah, my main. But yeah, I believe a Swedish guy by the name of Cactus, who made this duo of weird and creepy first-person adventure games called Mondo Medicals and Mondo Agency, which Snarb's also familiar with, I believe.
yes. Mondo Agency is especially weird, especially that final boss and the way it screams.
That really creeped me the fuck out, man. Jesus Christ.
I remember back when Final Bosses said stuff like, "I'll take you to hell with me."
Or whatever Mumbly Joe was saying at the end of Gradius 3. Well, you can actually hear him in the arcade version. Greediness of mankind and all that.
In the Super NES, when he calls you an asshole, I stand by that.
Yeah, that's good old Mumbly Joe.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Hotline Miami is just really fun. It's creepy. It's crazy. It's almost endlessly replayable. I did like the sequel, but I think the original was more magical, so to speak. But yeah, no, like, indie games were really burgeoning around that time, and while they came with their own problems, like pretentiousness being one, and in the case of some of them, I do appreciate that, smaller developers were getting much more of a platform to bring their ideas around to a wider audience. That wasn't just like the big publishers, the quote unquote triple A's or whatever, domineering everything. And that has become a much larger part of gaming today. And like, as more people seem to be sick of the whole triple A thing, and apparently someone's trying to push quadruple A as a buzz term, and I'm just like, oh, fuck off already, Jesus. But
I made a game with zombies in it.
That was a game from the time. Yes, I forget his name, James, whatever it was, but he did The Dishwasher and its sequel, which is on Steam, but for some reason the original isn't. I still don't understand.
Yeah, that's really weird to me.
Yeah, maybe the original can be files somehow, but he did go on to make Salt and Sanctuary, which I heard was good, but I've yet to get around to. Creek. But other stuff from the 7th gen that I did like would include... Fuck, there's one specifically that I had in mind that fuck, it just slipped in. Oh yeah, right. It was the era of my now beloved FromSoft action RPGs, Demon's Souls and Dark Souls. Like, some real gremlins kind of latched onto that series, and like, its fans are stupid, but the games themselves are real solid. I just really like the weird, creepy, grim worlds they create, the really neat boss fights, all the crazy shit that you get to play with in them, and so forth. And like, I've been a fan of them all the way up to Elden Ring, released recently. And it started with Demon's Souls in 2009, and It made people actually pay attention to FromSoft outside of the niche that the Armored Core series has built up. I really need to get around to more of those games beyond the first. But yeah, I am a Souls fan. I'm one of those people, so feel free to throw tomatoes at me.
Hey, you know what game was fun?
What's that?
Oni-chan-bara, Bikini Samurai Squad.
Yeah, I never got around to that one, but I hear it is dumb fun for what it is worth.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally dumb fun.
But just one more I want to touch on. I know that this one didn't work for Robin so much, but I did really like the Batman Arkham series.
Yeah, it was just... Well, you go on. I'll tell you what I thought afterwards.
I mean, like, even if you didn't really get into them from a gameplay standpoint, you did have to admit they definitely had real... they actually kind of got how to play Batman was like the whole, perching up on things and then pouncing down on predators and whatnot, and that sort of rhythmic combat that built up, which other games then kind of handily ripped off, which I know annoyed some people for the time, but for the games themselves, it actually worked. The setting was a little grimdark for Batman terms, for better or worse. Yeah, there is that, but I did like the settings for what they were worth, and of course they did bring in Kevin Conroy to be Batman, rest in peace, and Mark Hamill to be the Joker, which was a huge, giant advertising point for the time, and they were just, Asylum and City were really great. Night is technically 8th gen, but I saved off getting around to that one because I heard it gone more Ubisoft-y, more open world, but when I actually got around to it, I actually did really enjoy it after all. There was also the B-Team game Arkham Origins, which maybe I didn't like as much, but it did have some cool boss fights in it, and outside of a story twist that I hate forever and kind of gets into something why I don't like a certain thing in comics, Origins was still pretty good for what it was worth. So, go ahead, Rob.
I'm going to say this. It wasn't the gameplay that turned me off to it. I actually liked all that stuff where you could go hide and jump on dudes and kick the crap at them.
Yeah, no, it really makes you feel like Batman. That was the best thing about them, I think.
My issue was the length.
They do have some 7th gen, say, content cruft, yeah. Another thing about the 7th gen, even in games I like, some of them, unfortunately, backed to the fallacy that more is more, which, as we know, is definitely not how it should be in most cases.
No.
But I can understand that.
I will say this, a game that gave me a similar experience and wasn't anywhere near as long, and to be honest, I kind of liked better because of a couple of reasons. It was one I already mentioned, Captain America Super Soldier. It's like Arkham Asylum Light.
Yeah, I actually finally got around to playing that one. I think it was one of the last games I played on my PS3, which I haven't touched in a while, but it's a solid title.
Yeah.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but would you say you're a bigger fan of Cap than you are of Batman?
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. That makes sense then.
That's one of the reasons. Another one is the World War II setting.
Yep, huge buff for that.
Also, the fact that you could just do all sorts of things with his shield.
Yes.
It's like that. They just nailed that aspect of Captain America perfectly.
Yeah, for the most part, it was a really fun game, and I really like playing it as well.
Only thing I didn't like, though.
I know where you're going. You're going.
And I understand why.
Yeah, I knew it.
But couldn't you at least have one fight with the Red Skull?
Yeah, that is like that's a huge, like, you basically fight every other villain of note he had there, like Baron Strucker, Madame Viper, Arnim Zola's the final boss even, but not even like a fight. Like Red Skull could have been like the penultimate boss, and then he could have got away. It's just kind of weird that you don't fight, his fucking arch enemy. That is indeed strange. Then again, I would rather have no Red Skull than I would Titan Joker, i.e. the infamous way how Arkham Asylum ended. For as much as I like those games, they did have some faults, and everyone hated how the first game ended. And yeah, no, that was not a great move that they went for.
Well, at least with Captain America, they had to go on what the movie Captain America: The First Avenger had established.
Yeah, exactly.
So they couldn't do anything weird with the Red Skull. But to not
Mhm.
even have one fist fight with the guy,
Mhm.
I mean, come on.
Well, Po Buddy's nerfed. But at
Eh,
any rate, I realize that like the 7th gen talk, it kind of domineered the convo for like the past hour at this point.
yep,
So
so we're going to shift here. Although I
I,
will
ju-
say,
I just wanted to close it up by saying this.
mm,
Now that I'm more distant from the era, I can see the good it did. I will never completely let go of how rude it got, how jingoistic and how meat-headed it got with all the mill sims and the rise of Call of Duty and American history whitewashing etc. I could get political with that shit, but I'm not gonna, mercifully. But for the bad it did, and for some of the grudges I still carry, I can see the good in it. I can see the good games we got about it. And, like, on my more generous days, I like to call it an era of growing pains. Like, the paradigms of games are kind of changing all around at this point. And not all of them were bad. There was some roughness to deal with, but, you know, I guess I don't fully hate the 7th gen. Just kinda.
well,
So yeah, that's all I got to say. Go ahead.
let me tell you how my introduction to the 7th gen went. Because for the first time, I was being forced to upgrade. Because I had to play Splatterhouse when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no two ways about it. But
Mm-hmm.
my initial introduction when I got my first and only 360, I remember the first game I put in, Raiden 4.
Ooh,
Oh.
interesting one.
And after that, the Raiden Fighters compilation.
Nice. This is a pretty solid trilogy.
Yeah. And I think the first game I downloaded was Gunstar Heroes.
Oh yeah, that was a re-release at some point.
So this virtual caveman was alive and well.
Did you end up getting Guardian Heroes and all those other treasure releases that got 360 release?
I know I got Guardian Heroes. I don't think I got the other ones.
Oh, okay.
But
We still have yet to get another Guardian Heroes re-release, and I'm still kind of ticked by that.
yeah, I don't blame you. I did get a lot of games that were ultimately delisted, though, like Outrun 2 and Afterburner Climax and Simpsons Arcade, X-Men Arcade,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and even that one reimagining of Turtles in Time.
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
The
that
infamous one by
was-
Ubisoft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not very good.
So I heard.
Yeah.
And I wasn't too fond of the reimagined Capcom games either, like 1942 Joint Strike and Wolves of the Battlefield.
Right, right. Those were incredibly mediocre, from what I gather.
Yeah, but I still had a fun time with it. Helps that I stayed away from all that bullshit you were talking about.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if we were to go into a more detailed good and bad of the 7th gen era, I could write an entire essay on why a certain part of Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, known as No Russian, is the absolute shark jump point
Oh,
for
boy.
all video games forever. But I am not going to do that tonight. That's going to be a weightier and much angrier topic than we usually profess on here, so we probably won't actually get around to it.
or how about that
But
one where
who
the
knows?
Fonz jumped the shark? Wow.
and then he got shot as a martyr for some rogue nation. I don't know. Fuck.
No, Samuel L. Jackson got eaten.
Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
Hey! Of course, if anyone realizes what I'm talking about here. It's Clerks, the animated series.
Yep.
We are going to have a View Askew stream at some point.
Shit, right. I thought we actually did do that. We did. Here, I got it right.
You guys have not done that yet.
No, we have not.
I would have remembered.
Mm-hmm. We are definitely going to do that at some point.
Notes.
Mike's taking notes. I thought we'd spend the last 25 minutes or so talking about something a little different.
Yes.
We have gone on and on and on about the interests that basically everyone knows we're interested in. You know, for all these streams. What is one thing that you're interested in that you never talk about with people? And not because you don't want to talk about it, but just because it never comes up. Or it's just one of those things.
Wow, that's a hell of a question. Can we play like the Monty Python intermission music while we think about this?
If I wasn't worried about getting the copyright strike, sure.
It's
I can think of something I don't bring up on stream, and it's that I do art as a hobby. I actually draw.
Yes, go for that.
It's true. Yeah.
There's not really much to talk about in general with it, like as in terms of like mechanically speaking. There's some interesting things you learn and you pick up. The most important thing if you decide to learn how to draw is actually penmanship. I didn't actually learn how to properly draw until I took an art course in college that forced us to use grapevine charcoal. If you have never used that, imagine something that if you try to pick it up, it basically turns to dust in your hands, and you have to draw with that. You have to figure out how to get that on paper without it basically just exploding into like a puff of ash.
Wow.
Yeah, and I grew to love it. It was messy, but it was very interesting because you can only be so good with it. You kind of have to play fast and loose with it. It's very smooth on the paper. There's a lot to like about it. I need to return to charcoal. I wasn't great at it. Most of my things turned out way too dark. It's really hard to balance darks and lights with that as a medium. And you can only work with white paper if you use it. There is actually white charcoal, which I haven't messed with. That'd actually be fun to do on some black construction paper. But I do both traditional and digital. And in fact, I'm actually viewing this stream on this screen tablet my mother got for me for my birthday. And I really appreciate it. It's very nice. It makes drawing a lot more convenient, as you might imagine, because a regular, so for a long time, if you wanted to draw on a computer, you had, a couple of options. A long time ago, you would have used what's known as a light pen. You would have just drawn directly, I think, onto a monitor that picked up the pen, I believe. I need to do more research into that, but your other option was a mouse. Flash kind of took off the way it did because you could actually draw entirely with just your mouse. When I tried out Flash in college, that was something that was really nice, is that you can shape the lines basically however you want. Like, you can just put down a straight line, and then you can angle it, and twist it and do all these other things, and you never have to pick up a pencil to do that. The only other way to draw for a long time on a computer was to get a tablet. And, a drawing tablet, it basically looks like a big mouse pad, but you use a pen on it. And for a long time, there was only one player in that market, known as Wacom. I believe is exactly how you say it. It looks like it should be Wacom or something, but no, it's Wacom, I think.
I've heard of them.
Yes. Wacom, wasn't that the sequel to the NES game Wampum? I'm sorry.
Quiet you.
Hang on a second. Hold it.
Yeah. I deserve something for that.
Oh, yeah, you do.
And L. Sorry, man.
Man, that's terrible.
That was bad, Mike.
But to get to the point there a little bit, is you had to pay out the ass for one of those. They were hundreds of dollars for the longest time. And then something curious happened in the 2010s. A smaller manufacturer started to release generic tablets. I got one. This was my first drawing tablet, was under the name Monoprice. And that was like a game changer for me because I'd actually fallen out of drawing and art for a while. I really wanted to do the Marvel comic style, and long story short, I just can't. I can't get it to look right. I like toonier stuff. I can draw cartoons very well, and I just was in denial about it. But that really opened me up because I could make mistakes. I didn't have to worry about paper. I didn't have to worry about, my lines being kind of choppy or whatever. Like, this was before I'd learned good penmanship. And I just said, you know what? If I'm going to start drawing again, I'm going to draw whatever I want to. And wouldn't you know it, that's actually the real trick to any hobby is just do it how you want to, because if you grow to love it, you can learn the hard stuff real easy. My anatomy has slowly gotten better over time, my shading, coloring, etc. And part of that is just sticking it out. It's just doing it and loving that you're doing it. The current art world, such as it is kind of an upheaval. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if you want to get paid as an artist, especially small time one, you have to do commissions. And for a lot of people, that means doing a certain kind of commission under the table, basically, or over the table, really, given how big some artists have gotten. But there is a lot going on with censorship and other sort of things. And, what is it? Social media cracking down on, let's just say adult work that has really thrown in, kind of a wrench into things. And I have a lot of friends that have been hit by that. And it's kind of taken my, joy out of drawing a little bit. But I'm just going to, you just have to kind of weather the storm, no matter what happens.
I got to say two things here. One, it's too bad Mo had to leave early because she herself is a bit of an artist. Actually has a YouTube channel of her own.
What?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Well, she demonstrates, different pieces of art she works on.
Wow.
I never knew about that.
Yeah, I'll dig up the address and link you to it at some point. And two, we do have an artist in the chat right now.
Yes, Prime.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And he's done enough commission work for me over time. So
exactly, Prime. Exactly. Like, we're at a point where just a tame pinup is getting, they're cracking down on that. Just a lady in a bikini or whatever.
That's ridiculous.
It's getting really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, she does. Once I dig up her YouTube channel, I'll share the link. Well, I remember the days of Happy Little Trees. And also, you mentioned, what was it you were talking about? Was it Flash you were talking about?
Yes, Flash animations.
Yeah, I said consummate V's. Consummate! Had to throw a Homestar reference in there because Flash.
You don't need consummate V's to be my bride.
Seriously, a picture with an adult tag with just a woman in a bikini.
Yeah, it's getting really weird. Like, the actual payment processors, Visa and MasterCard, are hitting people, and they're hitting even romance novels now. That's to tell you the level that they're waging war on this kind of thing. And it's like, really?
Romance novels?
That's the hill you want to die on? Yeah.
That's terrible. Well, on that note, Mike, have you thought of anything yet?
I do have something which I think you have heard me talk about sometimes that I know Sam and Prime also like, and I have discussed with them sometimes, but I feel like I don't get to bring up enough that I'm a huge geek, not just for martial arts movies, but for martial arts themselves. I'm very schlubby, terribly out of shape, and not really much of a martial artist myself. I know some basic tenets about fighting, but I never actually want to get into a fight. But there's just something really inherently interesting to me about two people beating the snot out of each other, and I know it's kind of like a primal sort of gland in the back of my brain or whatever, but how do I go about saying this? Like, I I don't know. There's just something about the acrobatics and the either the if it's a movie, something about the choreography, or if it's an actual fight, something about the grit or whatever that really brings me in. Like I was kind of a fan of like very fair weather to be sure, but I did like boxing quite a bit growing up until it became less of a thing, unfortunately. But um like I don't it makes I don't like to talk martial arts a lot because it kind of makes me feel like a macho meathead to get on that subject, and I totally understand why.
Yeah, I was
other
gonna
people...
say, you sound very apologetic about this, and it's like, I think that's a very interesting thing to be into, you know, because it's like, I've seen martial arts movies; they're a lot of fun, so that's a totally fair thing to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we just want to, I mean, yeah, if we just want to stick to movies, yeah, that's a lot more uh, relatable. Like all the shit that Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest has released, the Venom Mob and Gordon Liu, and of course the increasing popularity of Jackie Chan in the later 20th century. How Bruce Lee brought the a practical zeitgeist to the field of martial arts movies to the West, and then died way too young. But yeah, as Prime said, martial arts lore history is amazing too, and you know, I like hearing about how like rooted like like Shaolin Kung Fu or savate from France or like Yagli Gurus Turkish oil wrestling is to their countries. I only know about that last one because of the character Hakan from Street Fighter 4. But,
Yes.
It made people know more about an obscure cultural sport, so I can't say that's a bad thing, even if how Hakan does it is absolutely not how it actually works in real life. But I love that guy. You should really come back for 6, damn it. Anyway, but that also feeds into why I like fighting games and beat 'em ups as much as I do. There's just something really primally interesting about punching thugs and poachers and aliens and whatnot. And while I do have a sort of love-hate relationship with one-on-one fighters here and there, I don't think I'll ever fully hate them. And if from 1991 to 2025, if it's still fun to tiger uppercut some schmo out of the air, then I will always find it interesting. So whether they're as movies, whether they're as games, or whether they are as actual competitions and tournament events, I just find martial arts to be really cool, and I should rope people into talking about them more when I can. It's like the only real bitter spot in this is how I mentioned earlier that boxing became less prominent because of the rise of MMA, i.e., quote unquote, mixed martial arts, which I know Rob and I's mutual friend, and Prime actually, our friend Sam is incredibly derisive of MMA. Like it started out with good intentions, but then it got a lot more homogenized over time, and I don't find most MMA matches all that interesting to watch nowadays. It just kind of feels like the actual spirit of the competition and the actual flexibility and fascination of the arts themselves have just been distilled down so much to a point of mediocrity that I just can't get into UFC and all that bullshit now. So and that also makes me wish I was more into pro wrestling nowadays, because I still consider it martial arts to an extent, even though, smart marks and whatnot, being what they are. Like, even if the bookings are predetermined, it's still a lot of actual athletics. But pro wrestling can also get dumb with stuff that's like, something that like Jeff Johns or some overhyped comic writer wrote or something, and like the bookings do get kind of like I hear WWE's in like just an absolutely terrible fucking place now. Prime says, oddly enough, the whole thing of Street Fighter is how uncommon it was for matches of mixed style in tournaments. Yes, exactly. I mean, you had, the most distinctive martial arts that the game had were sumo from E Honda, pro wrestling from Zangief, straight up boxing from Balrog, and Muay Thai from Sagat. The other martial arts were kind of like more hybrid styles, like Ryu and Ken weren't straight karate, but I guess they kind of were. But then you had Blanca's style just being feral, shocking, and biting and clawing the opponent. And yoga is not a martial art, but that somehow became the catch-all term for Dhalsim's magical stretchy limbs and fire-breathing powers, which is really fucking weird. And maybe a little bit culturally off, for lack of a better word, if you really think about it. But
to be fair, Mike, I also don't think that somehow jumping, flipping over, and levitating while you spin around, I don't think that's a martial art either.
Wait a minute.
What's that quote from Fist of the North Star? Hey, throwing dynamite isn't a martial art. Hey, whatever works.
Did Jaggy say that? That sounds like a Jaggy thing.
I don't know which character it was. I just saw it out of context, and I crack up every time I think about it.
That's pretty great.
Not to mention kicking your leg so fast that it becomes a blur.
Yeah. I guess Chun-Li, like, Kung Fu is kind of a catch-all term. I couldn't tell you exactly what Chun-Li's style is, but I guess she used Kung Fu. Guile would be using marine martial art. Well, actually, Guile's the Air Force, not the Marines, but I'm overthinking this. And then Vega's Spanish ninjutsu, which is crazy enough, and then Bison's glowing, I'm going to become a living fireball and turn you blue, Psycho Crusher powers. Street Fighter 2, being as famous as it did, I think also really helped contribute to interest in martial arts throughout the 90s. But, also things being magical with all the special moves and whatnot. And my mental idea of the game being called Street Fighter fits in wrestling. Oh yeah, like the Neo Geo game 3-Count Bout had these matches that would take place in like a backlot outside of the ring, and you get to bop the opponent with like chains and barrels, and I think there's like a taser in there. That sort of bullshit is hilarious and great. 3-Count Bout's underrated. I really like that one.
Yes, Mike, you forgot one of the most important characters from Street Fighter 2. I mean, he showed up in every port of the game. I don't care what it was.
Okay, who did I miss?
Okay, he was the dude in the background of Chun-Li's stage who was choking his chicken. And I mean that quite
chicken.
And I mean that quite literally.
I know you do. I do recall that. Yeah, it didn't hurt that SF2 had some really elaborate backgrounds for their time as well. But But yeah, I mean, and then the Street Fighter series has gone on to do a lot of interesting stuff since then, and Street Fighter 6 is now a huge, still really hugely popular even today. I do have a few gripes with the roster not being interesting enough, in my opinion, but I guess I still need to give it more time. Mm-hmm. But it is still really fun to play, although I'm one of those hipster jerks who thinks that Street Fighter 3 was actually the actual best phase of the series. But
you hipster jerk.
I mean, it's got a cute ninja chick and a tall, mostly naked woman from Kenya who's really cool, and I like her. So, there's those.
That's very true, but I am very disappointed in you about something, Mike.
Well,
so am I.
What?
Well,
Why are you guys
I don't think it's the same thing as Rob. Interestingly
enough, am I a constant disappointment to you? Am I a funny haha? Am I a clown?
No,
it's fucking amuse you?
When you were dumping on MMA, I am very shocked you did not mention the Penny Arcade strip with the sweaty dick punching.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, Penny Arcade's mostly bullshit. I don't like thinking about that series too much now, but that is one of the very few still acceptable tenets of how MMA usually comes down to what the guy said was, quote, 20 minutes of sweaty dick punching, unquote. And that's kind of the negative perspective I have on what just like Western MMA is nowadays. But like watching like the old like the pre UFC shit, like with Pride FC and whatnot. I saw this match between, I believe the fighters were Dan Henderson and Wanderlei Silva, and that was actually really fucking entertaining. What I actually appreciated was that if they stayed on the ground for too long, the referee actually forced them to stand up again, which, because I'm kind of mixed on how ground fighting is just, I'll admit it, not to sound like a Philistine, but just not as interesting as when the fighters are standing. I understand why it's there, but like I appreciate that it could, like that they didn't have to stand that they actually still had to use their standing skills as well. They had to actually be good strikers and wrestlers,
Hey,
not
now,
one or the other.
question for you.
What's
All
up?
this talk about sweaty dick punching, isn't that just what Johnny Cage does in the original Mortal Kombat?
It is what he does in the series. Yes, he does have the ball punch that was like I think a holdover from the original idea of them wanting to get Jean-Claude Van Damme in the game, which of course he refused. So they made Johnny Cage his own character and sort of Johnny's original outfit in MK1 with the black shorts and the red belt. That does look a lot like something that Frank Dukes, JCVD's character in Bloodsport, wore at some point in the tournament. And yeah, the split and ball punch, which Lyndon Ashby also does in the 1995 movie, is an inherent part of Johnny's arsenal. I remember actually. I'm surprised that this wasn't in one of the fighting games, but in the versus mode of the really game good spin-off. Okay, USA, yes, Prime. I love Bloodsport. It is really cheesy. It's far from a perfect movie, but it's got the fucking Stan Bush song "Fight to Survive," so it instantly makes it one of the greatest movies ever made. But yeah, in the excellent spin-off Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, Johnny has this fatality that he doesn't have anywhere else, where he actually makes a fatality out of the ball punch and just like repeatedly works it over like a speed bag and punches it so hard that the opponent's torso flies off. And I gotta find that.
That's hilarious.
Yes, but I am quite a fan of NK as well. It is a bizarre and at times very crude series, but I grew up with it. It's still fun to me.
You're getting more into versus fighting round table talk now.
Yes.
Yeah, we do intend to do that in the future, so consider that a preview of what I can potentially rant about.
So I guess that leaves me as far as my interests. Well, I have a couple of them, which all intersect in one way or another. For one thing, I'm a huge history buff.
Yes.
And you know how most people focus on certain eras. Like, you'll find someone who just like loves the Renaissance era, or they love the whole ancient Rome thing or whatnot.
I am the feudal Japan dork. I can tell you that.
That's up there, but it's not like one of my all-time favorites. Believe it or not, I'm actually quite fascinated with the early 20th century. So basically anything involving the Gilded Age, World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, all that. Which leads into another favorite thing of mine, which I swear to God, if I could have ever done this in real life, I would have. Problem is, my eyes just aren't good enough. Airplanes. You have no idea how badly I wanted to be a pilot. And regarding history, I also have a bit of a fascination with colonial New England history.
Interesting.
Especially when it gets into like legends and folklore.
Like the Jersey Devil.
No, not the Jersey Devil. I'm thinking more obscure kind of stuff.
The Flatwoods Monster?
No, more obscure.
I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Skunk Ape. I used to be really big into what is it called, cryptids and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think of one that's from that region that's relatively obscure.
It's not really cryptids.
Oh,
More of, okay, I have a book called Mysterious New England, and it was published by Yankee Magazine back in 1973. And they go into discussion about ghost stories, legends, and even sometimes actual history that happened in New England. Going all the way back to the 1600s. And one of those actually touches on the Lizzie Borden murder case.
oh wow.
And what was offered as a possible answer for what actually happened. Providing the guy that told this stuff wasn't just some guy off his rocker. And there's other stuff like, little oddities. Like, apparently there's a cemetery somewhere in New England where you can be driving by and you see what looks like a ghost of a man about to go into a crypt. But it turns out it's a statue. This dude had this statue commissioned and built before he died. And it leads into his family's crypt. So it's like he's like just out there forever, just trying to get it. Whether that statue still exists now, I'm not sure, but it was close to 100 years old when that book was published. So, and some of the local legends, like there was one about this abandoned village somewhere up towards, I think, the White Mountains or the Adirondacks. And basically, there's this whole plot of land that no one will settle on up there. They haven't rebuilt over it, to my knowledge. But supposedly what happened is a town was built there on a sacred Native American land. I don't think it was the whole, Indian burial ground thing like you hear about poltergeist and whatnot. But
Yeah.
basically, they were told not to build there. They did anyway. And at one point, some of the tribal elders came down and said, okay, you didn't listen to us. We're not responsible for what happens next. And there was this really, really incredibly, strangely hot day for August. And there was supposedly a report of a black cloud that came out down from the mountains and hovered over the village. Looked kind of like a hand. And when that was all over and done with and the cloud was gone and temperature was starting to get back to normal, the houses were all there, but no one was. So, like, everyone just up and vanished. The only place that the hand didn't cover was the church.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and there's all sorts of stories like that in there. Like, there was an apple tree that grew for the longest time that when you split the apples open, instead of just a regular apple core, it'd be like a red core, almost kind of liquidy in a way. But apparently the apples were quite delicious. Supposedly, back in the 1700s or whatnot, this peddler had come around, and the farmer that he tried to peddle his wares to grew jealous because he couldn't afford the stuff that the guy had that he wanted, and went temporarily insane and murdered the peddler, and then buried him on his land, right under an apple tree. So, put two and two together there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Apples.
Yeah. They never could, like, transplant the apple tree. They could never, get seeds from it to grow anywhere else. And at one point, I think a hurricane that came through finally wiped it out. But this book is not thin either. It's a thick book. There's all sorts of stuff like that in there. But As far as the
What's the
rest of
book?
it,
What's the book called again? I feel like I should get this at some point.
Mysterious New England.
Gotcha. Also, you mentioned Lizzie Borden earlier, correct?
Yes.
40 whacks with a wet noodle, Bart. There you go. Another
Yep.
Simpsons ref. Had to do it.
But it's a very fascinating book. I remember reading it when I was a kid and just like, wow.
Sounds like it, yeah.
But as far as the rest of like the early 20th century, the Gilded Age, that would be like the late Victorian era. I agree with that completely, Prime. I remember actually watching Ghost Hunters for a time, and some of that was so dumb.
I'm in a house. Oh no, I hear a sound. Who is that? Why are you here? Why do you wish to cast us out?
Dude, run!
That was a real fucking zeitgeist for a while, wasn't it? That.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why was that?
And then it gave us Paranormal Activity.
Oh, kind of rolling off of that, the 7th gen was also kind of a byproduct of what Snarb and I call a 2000s quote-unquote culture vacuum, where it kind of felt like for a while all media was just really fucking stupid in some way. Like,
Yeah, very vapid and dumb.
That was the era of the Bayformers in movies. That was the era of bullshit like 24 and Lost on television. That was the era of fucking Twilight in books. That was the era of what in music? What was bad music around that time? I don't even fucking remember.
Godsmack, Evanescence.
Yeah, like the bad part of new metal. Let's say, I guess.
You
It's like,
gotta circle it around to the 21st century again. Here I am trying to talk about the 20th century.
I'm sorry, dude. I just wanted to say this was something that I debated also maybe having a stream on, but I didn't want to be overly negative. Funny enough, looking at it, video games were maybe the best type of media around that time, which is kind of fucking sad, but it was what it was. Anyway, sorry.
But Mike, Lost is the greatest mystery ever told.
Yeah, and my balls are gummy candy for the village elves. I don't know what the fuck I'm even saying anymore.
Apparently not.
I'm losing it. Go on, Rob.
Snarb, are you sure it wasn't the greatest story ever hooled?
God damn it.
That's a good question. I don't know if there was any hulaing in Lost. I'd have to actually watch it, but
I just remember Freakazoid saying "Hula Girls" repeatedly. Going back to our last stream, but yes, the Gilded Age. Yes.
In fact, what Betty and I did today represents kind of the end of the Gilded Age.
yes, I was wondering if you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, we went to a Titanic artifact exhibition.
That's awesome.
And a lot of stuff directly from the ship. They salvaged from the debris field. Nice little tour. And it was just so much information in there. They even had reconstructed the grand staircase on the Titanic. Now, the Titanic itself holds a fascination for me. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the James Cameron movie. I've been a Titanic buff since years before that thing came out. And it was just, they actually had an actual chunk of the hull on display there. Like a 2-ton piece. Including a part that you could actually touch. I can say I've touched a piece of the Titanic now.
Nice.
But it was very interesting. That was like, when the Titanic sank, it caused this major shift. And then, just a couple of years later, the whole thing came crashing down when World War I started. And World War I find that era in particular fascinating. Mainly because it was the first one to feature aerial warfare. And if you can see the stack of books I got from my father on military aircraft from World War I and World War II, it's pretty impressive. So, always had a fascination with that. And then, that's part of my wanting to be a pilot. So,
Hey, Rob, offhand, are you familiar with the movie Little Miss Sunshine?
not off the top of my head.
I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen a few bits, and young Paul Dano actually plays a sort of rather aloof and very, like, he's taking a vow of silence because he's just kind of in that phase, but he really wants to be a pilot too, and it leads to a well, I don't want to say much, but just you mentioning that reminded me of that. I should actually see that movie in full sometime, but my mom really likes it.
It also helps that when I was a kid and our parents would go on vacation, they would bring us sometimes up to Rhinebeck, New York, so we could visit the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome, which had a lot of World War II or World War One era aircraft and vehicles up there. They had an air show they did every day, in which, and this was just funny, the Black Baron bombs the sausage factory. And the sausages all fly up out of the chimney and into the sky. Very, very cool thing to experience, I can tell you that. But it doesn't stop there. Then there's the Roaring '20s after that. It's just like, we just came out of this whole Gilded era and then World War One, so it's party time. So, and of course, that brought the rise of things like Prohibition, the Flappers, all this other stuff. Just remember something, though. There was nothing in Al Capone's vault, but it wasn't Geraldo's fault.
Oh! Baby on board, something, something, Burt Ward.
It practically writes itself. And of course, that led to the Great Depression, which there was a lot to be said about that, which, of course, eventually led us directly to World War II, and everything that happened after World War II is just kind of like, no thanks. Yeah, I better that I not get started on that particular subject. Mike knows what I'm talking about. Don't you, Mike?
Something, something, all the Ward Cleavers of the world, something. I'm not going to get into it either. Something, something, Beatles, something. Oh, yeah. Did you want to talk about how much you hate the Beatles, or should we just cut it there for tonight?
Well, I don't want to go totally negative here, but yeah, I can't stand the freaking Beatles.
I do find that amusing. Some days I still wonder if you're playing that for kayfabe, but like,
oh no,
when I first knew you, I didn't recall you being so vitriolically venomous against them, and now it's just like a bubbling, like, pit of just your soul absolute hatred on, like, mostly on John Lennon, but for the entire band. Just being what they were.
Individually and their own solo works, I don't mind the rest of them so much. Lennon I can't stand at all.
Yeah, he was kind of a pretentious douchebag, and he hit Yoko Ono, so,
Cosplayed as a hippie.
Number 8.
I do enjoy a good parody.
Give me a beer, Mo. I'd like a single plum floating in perfume served in a man's hat. There you go. Referencing the same episode that you just did a few minutes ago, even. It's such a good one, though.
Well, there was that one time I did get to act out a scene from a classic Simpsons episode with a professional Beatles impersonator.
The George Harrison one?
Yep.
Excellent.
It was just one of those things where, I was at work, and I was talking to one of my supervisors who was a big Simpsons fan. And all of a sudden, here come the Ed Sullivan Show era Beatles coming right towards us. And it's like, oh, they must be with the whole, singing star impersonator thing or whatever it was called that they had next door at the casino. So they want to know where the employee cafeteria is. So, we let him know, and I said, all right, which one of you is George Harrison? So he raises his hand. It's like, hey, come here for a second. It's like, my supervisor, big Simpsons fan. Would you do a little bit with me? He's like, oh, sure, what? And I outlined the scene for him. And sure enough, we did it.
Where'd you get the pile of brownies?
Yep. He started off, he did the whole British accent. Hello, Homer, I'm George Harrison. Oh my God. Oh my God. Where did you get that brownie? Over there's a whole table full of them. Oh, what a nice fellow.
Did you even make the chefs at the place even make a pile of brownies for it?
No, because we were out on the gaming floor at the time.
Okay.
But
still, that's pretty great.
Yeah, the other impersonators all thought it was hilarious. My supervisor was practically on the floor because he knew that episode.
It's great.
Yeah, one of his favorite ones was Homer's Phobia.
Yes, the one with John Waters.
All you had to say around him was hot stuff coming through.
We work hard and we play hard.
Keep reaching for that rainbow.
Yep. Oh my God, what's going on now? Dad, why'd you bring me to a gay steel mill? I don't know.
Steel Industries gay.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great episode. But yeah, so all that kind of intersects in one way or another as far as my interest, but not too many people know about that. I also do have a fondness for some musicals as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm. In fact, one of them is from the World War II era, immediately post World War II, On the Town. With the exception of one number, which I find incredibly hard to watch. I like the rest of it.
Well, is it hard to watch because there's some for the day subject matter doesn't hold up, or is it just really boring or schmaltzy or what?
It's just weird. But not good weird. It's like, ugh.
It makes your skin crawl.
That's the thing I find about musicals.
I don't know.
The thing about musicals, I find, they always have the, quote, cheer up Charlie number, unquote, i.e. the one that nobody likes and everyone goes to get refreshments while it's going on.
This is mine for that movie. I can't remember what the title of it is, but basically they're in the National History Museum and it's a song about cavemen and something with stuff. And it features a lot of supposed caveman noises.
Did it go boom, boom, aka laka laka boom? Open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. I'm going to kill myself for that one.
Yes, but with less T-Rex.
Okay.
I was also going to say, is it anything like Hooked on a Feeling? I was going to say Hooked on a Ceiling for a second, which is a completely different song.
Yeah, I think it was by, I don't know who it was by. Anyway, no, the way I see it, every movie has a forgivable flaw.
Right.
For example, even though they play Dare to Be Stupid in the scene in Transformers the movie, the scene itself is pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty irrelevant. I mean, I like Greg Gar and all, and he was voiced by Eric Idle, but it was kind of a pointless diversion from all the other cool shit going on, so it was what it was.
Yeah. And then in Spaceballs, when, Barf he's eating and he's playing a Bon Jovi song. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Forgivable flaw.
Or the Beatles and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I'm glad it's mainly almost unintelligible.
Yeah. And that Indy himself hates that new hippie crap music or whatever.
I stand with Dr. Jones on that. That and, Elvis Presley at the beginning of Crystal Skull.
Oh, Yeah.
Hey, it was certainly appropriate to the era, but I am by no means an Elvis fan.
Yeah.
So, Rob, would you say that they should return to sender, address unknown?
Sure, why not?
I don't know whether the sad horn you or rim shot that, so I'm giving you both.
Yeah.
And a crack.
But, then there's movies that don't have any forgivable flaws because, for the most part, they're relatively flawless. No, you can't think of any?
Which are?
Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark, for one.
RoboCop.
Yeah,
There's that.
RoboCop.
I like how
Empire.
RoboCod. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Wait, you said RoboCod? We talking James
Yeah,
Bond
James
now?
Bond 2 RoboCod
Yeah.
got away with the entire RoboCop theme. I mean, it was a polka version, but still.
But Empire in its original form, that movie did not need any changes. And to be fair, at least it had the fewest changes out of the three.
Yeah.
No dewbacks for us.
But unfortunately, they did. I don't know. I find this almost as bad as some other parts of the other special editions that I don't want to talk about. That part where Vader comes down after fighting Luke, and he's all in the original version. He's like, "Bring my shuttle," very pissed off Vader to the point. And in the special edition, he's all, "Let my Star Destroyer to prepare for my arrival." It's like, what? I don't know about you guys, but I did not spend a good chunk of my life wondering how Vader got back to his Star Destroyer. And then they ruined the hyperspace queue in the process by cutting away to the shots of the shuttle going back to the Executor. It's like, George, you should leave that one alone. And also, I miss Boba Fett's original voice. Nothing against Tamara Morrison, but
I thought we already had our Star Wars stream.
We did, but remember, this is a stream of sidebars.
Well, that is true. Also, Prehistoric Man was the bit from On the Town that you're talking about.
That's the one, yeah.
This does look kind of stupid, yes.
Yeah. It's just...
I will admit, it's not that I can't completely stand them, but I just kind of don't like musicals, and I don't know why that is exactly. Maybe I just need to open my mind to them more, but
they're a hit or miss or shit or miss with me. It just really depends on my mood.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I remember going to see Nightmare Before Christmas in theaters and being taken by surprise that it was a musical.
Yes, that was kind of the big surprise with that one.
Mm-hmm. Ended up being a really good musical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then there was another one which, frankly, even though the series went straight down the tubes for a good, decade and a half, I still like the movie. And that was South Park.
Blame Canada, as they say.
Well, I do still kind of like Kyle's mom is a bitch, I'm not going to lie.
The one that caught everybody in the theater off guard was Uncle Fucka.
Which one?
You could have cut out for just a second.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
No.
Uncle Fucka.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's the classic, yes.
Bastard, Uncle Fucker, that's right.
No one saw that coming. We could barely hear the soundtrack for a few minutes because everyone was laughing so hard. I miss seeing movies in theaters with crowds sometimes. And then I don't because modern crowds suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some dingus on their phone. It's some jerk being a jerk.
Wow, what a detailed description.
The kind of guy that'll sit there and smoke a big cigar.
Or someone who
and then laugh very loudly.
Yes.
Wow,
Excuse me.
public library.
Trying to watch the. Oh, really now?
And
Yeah.
then there's also the quote-unquote little girl in the theater. Evelyn Moore, Evelyn Moore, Evelyn Moore. And like, he doesn't even just, like... He just, like, kind of talks to the movies. He doesn't even mention anything that's on screen. He just talks with them. I wonder how you spell Tabasco. Tabasco. Okay. But yeah. Simpsons and a Homestar reference. 2 for the price of 1.
Win-win. Well,
Yep.
I think. Well, it's about time, according to that old cat on the floor.
Yeah, we've gone a bit over time, but this was really fun. So,
Yeah.
It was.
And yes, Prime, a stream of consciousness. That's exactly what this whole stream was intended to be.
Damn it! We should have called it that from the start. Fuck. God. Oh well, maybe next time.
It's whatever. A stream of consciousness with a detour into the 7th generation.
Yeah, I didn't want that to be the lion's share of the discussion, but just kind of ended up that way. There's a lot I have to say, for better or worse, and there's more I could say, but yeah.
You are no longer allowed to talk about that on our streams.
Okay, that's cool.
Unless it's specifically about that subject.
Yeah.
Which subject now?
I'll leave that to the imagination.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, to everyone that stuck around this long, thank you for listening to us ramble for 3.5 hours.
Indeed. Thank you all. I am too, Prime.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
not a bad way of putting it.
Yeah.
Thank you all for viewing in on this somewhat indulgent 30th diddly 2. No, that's not fair. I shouldn't say that like that. Yeah,
I swear to
it was a lot
God,
of fun.
I swear to God, we'll have some really good toy commercials next. I swear.
Yep. I wouldn't mind doing another more freeform one like this in the future. I really enjoyed this one. It didn't turn up a pile of crap because I didn't know what to talk about. So kudos.
Well, next time we'll call it Stream of Consciousness.
Yes, that's perfect. God damn, thank you, Prime. We will credit you with that next time we do that.
So,
Yeah.
Make a note of that, Mike.
Yes, you know what? I will do that right now.
Good idea, because I don't want to forget this. And you know what would be even more fun? Getting another person on it, because then we have 4 of us.
Indeed. And we totes should.
Yeah. And we can just talk about, again, whatever. So,
You mean like the United States or whatever?
whatever.
This is my United States of whatever.
We already had the simple knowledge stream. But yes.
The 30th annual.
It is, yeah. Yeah, we did have the Homestar reference, so that was good too.
Yes. All right. So, and yes, of course, buy my book.
Buy
my book.
Buy his books.
Hey, there's another one coming out. Don't forget that.
True.
I'm going to be busy this week preparing for the coming stream. So, we'll probably be able to get a lot of writing done. But do not forget that next Saturday on the 4th, we will be having our first spooky stream of the Halloween season.
We need like a spooky soundbite to go with that. I don't know what though.
Groovy.
Oh, good.
Maybe the boss theme to Plock.
Yeah,
I'll have to link that for you, but it's basically the Fallens having a very good time.
Yep, as they do, as they did.
But yes, next week will be our Evil Dead stream. So, if you like the idea of a guy with a chainsaw for a hand and a boomstick on his back carving up deadites, join us then.
And we know you do, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
don't skimp out on it.
Yeah. You said it, Mike. All right, everybody. That said, y'all have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Take care, y'all.
And have a fun.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
And we're going to just sit here for a couple of minutes because for some reason I lost my closing music, which means I have to find it now.
Ruh-roh.
Wah, wah, wow.
These things happen.
We're not still live, are we?
Yes, we are.
Stretch!
Say hi to the people, everybody.
Hello and goodbye.
Filibuster, and then they inflated Buster Bunny, I believe. That actually happened once.
Yep, and now
I
we're
gotta
done.
remember this, Jesus Christ.
But now we're done. So, good night.
Okay. Good night. See you.
Good
Take care.
night.